Today, Inforunners, I'm Execute, joined today by Algared. How you doing?
And we have a voice in the void.
You beat me to it. Yes, SA's joining us as well. How you doing, buddy? SA?
Doing well. It's been a long week, but hey, we made it.
Yes. Nice and clear there on your. We got you a new microphone recently, didn't we? So you're nice and clear now. Good.
Yeah, we got tired of pulling in our military expert on dusty phone from the far-flung reaches of the world, and decided he needed a good intercom.
Yes.
So
very much so.
I don't know if you asked my wife, she probably would prefer the quality be poorer. So
yeah, well,
I'm just trying to set the title on. I forgot to do it on Twitch, so just look at our girl.
Look at our girl now.
Done. Right.
Oh, that picture's so beautiful. That background. Oh.
Well, I linked it to you a little while ago because I'd never seen them before. I found 2 images of Gladiator I'd never ever seen before, and that's very unusual for me to not see something that I haven't seen before. And they're also just 2 that I missed from years and years and years ago.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah.
But when there's so much, it's very easy to do. But yeah.
All right. I'm gonna get the bot up.
Yep.
And then we'll be able to get the questions coming in, and we'll go over some stuff real quick. Bot is running.
Up and running.
Let me do a quick.
Hey, Lena Maria, how are you? Lovely to see you.
Yep, we're up and running. Cool. So bot's running. There they go. They're coming in. Right now. I go over and this is going to have a heart attack, or is it going to work? Let's find out. Hey, it works, right? So we all saw this last week. This is the sneak peek and the goo machine, I guess you want to call it. But what I want to go through, sorry, I was minimizing that as I moved it. Is people had actually said that that people had been missing this, but these were actually in game. There were these containers. That basically, if you kind of read that, it pretty much tells you what they're for. So it's like a hardened case. I think it's some kind of I'm not sure it's the goo, but I think it might be a goo combined with like the soul thing. I don't know what else to call that. You know, the orb thing. I think it's like the human version of the orb. But I guess we'll have to kind of wait and see how that kind of shakes out. And then we had these drop this week as well, which are basically the updated bearing repeaters. So, you know, like the M4As, 5A, 6A, 7A, that type of thing. And they've drastically overhauled them, which I think was, I don't know if it was needed, but it's kind of welcomed for me, because you can now clearly look and see there are visual differences where before they kind of really just looked like they got bigger,
grown up with just double the size of each one.
Yeah. You know, I'm just going to hide you for 2 seconds, Algared.
Yep.
So you can see where you're hidden there. See how you can kind of see there. It also has extra coolers and stuff as well. So I thought that was kind of interesting how it did that. SA, is it really important? Well, you're the military guy. When you're out in the field, is it important about identify the gun that is shooting at you? I'm assuming it is.
Well, yeah, I mean, it definitely makes a difference. You need to know the penetration, the range. You know, you can use a rangefinder to be able to tell that you're so many meters out. And if that weapon, if you know the velocity of that round will depreciate at a certain range, you can stay out of range of that weapon if you need to. And I think we already use that when we do dogfighting in Star Citizen. You know when the range drop off is, and you try to stay out of that range if you can.
Yeah. So you would welcome this as a change then, making it easier to detect what the gun looks like, I guess?
I think, do I welcome it? Yeah, I mean, any improvement on the visual cues within the game is great. What I would say is more important with a change like this is them. Do you see the copper fins on it? That denotes that, you know, those are usually cooling fins on a weapon, something that will actually cool the inner core down. And I really love that they're highlighting that. They're giving you something visually that you can count 1, 2, 3 that has an actual real world purpose quote unquote real world purpose, but also adds to the style and adds to the, I guess, realistic gameplay feel of, like you feel like you're in a real world with real physics.
Okay. Yeah.
Look, I just look at it and I think if you're out salvaging a ship, those quick visual clues to be able to see also, this bit's the bit I want to take because that's a size 4, that's a size 3. Yeah, we'll take the size 4.
Reminds me
Exactly.
When we were talking about the wolf and with the buyer's guide, and I was saying like how you always just know what the wolf is going to have, so there's no kind of surprise. It's almost like the opposite of that. So being able to read those cues so you can tell. Yeah, that's the complete opposite. Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting. I wonder if they'll do this to any other weapons too.
Interestingly, I did salvage a wolf the other day, and the weapons get left, and they're both weapons like that, and you click tractor it, and they both move together. So they're kind of weirdly linked together in the code at the moment.
They're probably mirrored. That's what they probably, because they did cheat with a lot of stuff to get that out early, didn't they? So that's
So at the moment that's cheat. That there's a cheat there. So and because of that, you also can't literally salvage them. So they just go through a ship at that point. So
it just reminded me we've got to give away that wolf too today. So I'm looking forward to doing that on the fly. Right. So they did a roadmap roundup and they dropped it onto the roadmap, but along with that they had these images that people were able to kind of grab, and they're the ones they just put on the roadmap, and there's basically 2 of them. There is this one and this one, so you got the Medivac and the Triage. There's not a lot of external things to really read. I'm kind of a little disappointed. So the probably the most notable one is if you let me zoom in, or is it going to play difficult? It's going to play difficult because it's on Reddit. Right, so actually I'll just save these real quick so I can zoom in. Bear with me, because this is annoying me.
It is a lovely ship.
Yes. Give me a second to open these.
The drones are not. Someone's saying the drones aren't in yet, right? The drones are not with
They will be coming eventually, though. Yes.
Yeah, drones will come eventually, but they're not with the Apollo. And I'm not even sure they will ever be with the Apollo.
You can't. File. There we go. I want these to. No, you'll only open one at a time. Fine. Be difficult. Right.
It is nice to see that the RSI aesthetic has really evolved. I mean, it's just thinking of this in the first Connie in the Aurora, like the design cues are just so advanced now.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I really like. I've always liked this because to me it just picked up all those Connie cues. It's just that I've always said it's a cut down Connie. That's what it feels like, but it's the lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, this is my favorite designed RSI ship, period. I'm not interested in doing medical. Otherwise, I would pick one up.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same for me as well. Okay, I don't know why this has been so difficult. It has been so difficult. Thank you for my TED talk on how not to be set up. Right, so what I'm trying to show you here is the missile port, right? And I kind of don't like how it's been done. It feels kind of a bit cheap. So they've essentially made them integrated, right? And then so you can see here there's 8 on this side, and there's obviously going to be 8 on the other side for a total of 16 on this one, and then 4 on this side and 4 on the other side for a total of 8. But you can kind of see there, they've just literally cut it in half. Why wouldn't you at least like center it or something and make it look a little neater, or or have the 4 missiles in a square or something like that? It just feels cheap the way it's been done. And that's really the only external difference that I can tell between the two. This Medivac is meant to have extra armor, but it doesn't. Like
if you look at I
thought it was the Medivac, the more expensive one that had extra armor.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The Medivac, look, there's no difference, Algared.
No, all right. Yep, sorry. But
that's what I'm trying to say.
before.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just on the wrong picture. But as you can see,
Yeah.
there was no difference externally between the two anyway.
Mm.
So yeah.
So I think the design of the triage is what you're talking about with the missiles. It kind of makes sense because if you look at like, produced vehicles, they'll just put a blank plate. So if you look at it, there's like a little plate where the missiles would launch.
Right.
If you go to the other image, you can see that like it looks like they just replaced the 4 missiles with a plate.
Why would they do that in real world terms? Like, is it just for weight? Like,
money.
Okay.
Yep. All right. I'm going to cut in because on Twitch we have Tomo. Thank you for subscribing for 2 months, and also first time chatter. Douglas Farts 1 says, "Holy crap! I caught you guys live. Awesome channel. Thank you for both making it. Making it. You guys rock."
He just means making the channel, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, but
you're
we
welcome.
rock, apparently.
You're welcome. Yeah. Thank you very much.
So thank you, Double Farts.
Okay. So the last thing I kind of want to go over, because obviously down the road they talk about the drone and stuff. I think this may be the drone area in this back here with the antennae. I think this is the drone here sitting in here. Now, I could be mistaken, but from what I've looked at of the Shepherd drone, it looks very similar to that. And I think this is some kind of special airlock where the drone can go through. That's what I'm thinking at this point. What do you guys think of that, or do you think I'm off the mark?
Well, I think based on the original design, you're off the mark. I think the round thing is your sensor. And I think the drone used to come out the bottom. So, but I'm also going on what John Crew said in terms of the drones with the Apollo, and he was saying that as things have changed, there's not as much room for the drone. There's still space there for it, and they'll bring the drone back if it fits the gameplay later on. So at the moment, there is no drone on any of the Apollos, and it may never have a drone.
That's not what I heard. I heard that the drone is coming later. That's what I heard. When I listened to those recordings that you went over multiple times and made me listen to. But yeah. I guess we'll find out.
Yep.
I mean, I would agree with you, Al. It's I feel like the top part is definitely the sensor, search and rescue sensor, and that the drones will go.
Do you reckon that's just a scanner or something?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a very bespoke, specialized scanner. But if you look at the shape of the glass on top, I mean, then you look at the drone, that could potentially be a dual use port. Maybe there's one on the bottom, one on the top. But I mean, it did go out of the bottom, and the shape is so unique for this drone that I feel like the door is going to match the shape of the drone.
Now, I know you were looking at the Shepherd drone before X. I don't know if you showed that on screen, but yeah, it does look similar to.
It did. I'm trying to find this one. So this is the one that was where it came out the
originally
bottom.
Done.
Yeah, right. But my thought process is probably completely out of whack. Because that's a square.
That is so Star Trek.
But I can see why you were thinking it looked like a drone, because that shape does look similar.
Yeah.
And I could also see that glass skylight, which is above where the operating theaters are.
That is kind of where the skylight is, isn't it? But on the bottom. That's what I was trying to say. Like in relation to where it was, it might be one on top and one on bottom. And then when it was square, I was like, well, maybe it's not. So
yeah.
Yeah, because I haven't seen anything in the you know how they had the fly-throughs of like when it was in previs and all that stuff, like the white box and grey box. There was nothing that kind of showed drone coming through the floor. Nothing.
I don't think I've ever seen anything apart from the stills of the drone. Like when they've done fly-throughs of a ship, has never been, this is a drone bay, this is where the Shepherd drone is. It's just been the operating theaters.
So we've still got some mysteries to be solved, I think, with that one. See what that happens when they come through. The last one I kind of want to go through is someone took these images, they photoshopped them, and you can kind of see here in this one, they took some of the pre-existing medical variants of other ships and turned them into skins. So
I kind of have a problem with the idea of skins for these ships, and the reason why is when you look at current, and again, this is real world, it's not, space, not the future, but you have very particular colors and patterns that are used for medical vehicles, and it's very intentional.
Yeah.
And, when you see an ambulance coming up, you can recognize an ambulance. It may be red and white, it may be blue and white, but you can see with the lights, you can see with the color scheme that it is an emergency vehicle.
Yeah.
I think obviously that's something we haven't seen yet is the lights, but I'd be really surprised if this didn't have it. So, yeah.
Yep.
So,
I want to just picking up what you were saying and say, like, when you see those medical transport vehicles, the ones that kind of look vaguely similar to an ambulance, but they're different colours, it always throws you, doesn't it? It's because they're not in the standard colours you expect them to be. So if you've got different colours for your medical ships, then again, it's going to make that recognition harder. It does mean that if people are trying to avoid hitting medical, they may shoot the medical. But then MMOs, as we said last week, what do people do? They take out the healers first, so or the medical ships first, or so yeah, I could.
Yeah. So this is.
I imagine.
Hang on, because I wanted to do this before I could speak. You can speak as the skins go through. That's fine. Let me just get the ball rolling, motherfuckers. Come on. So this one is the Cyberpunk. This one follows the Cyberpunk delivery vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
This one is literally just copying the other skin. This one is like a UK ambulance, but I also believe that is very similar to the Terrapin one that was done.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I think he was on crack when he made this. This one, I don't understand why he's done it that way. That one, you can obviously see it's based off the Swedish ambulance, but also off the Pisces skin. And then this one, I think he's put way too many arrows on it. I think he needs to block out this centerpiece. It's too busy.
That one just reminded me of a Target, just.
This one is obviously trying to make it look like the Galaxy, but again, I don't think it's medical enough. And then this one probably, again, looks probably a bit more army. And then there, so he's just essentially taken the Ursa skins and put them on half of them. But yeah, so I just want to show you those ones. But I don't think they'll be the skins we'll get. I think we'll get something completely different. So, yeah.
What were you going to say, Essay?
Yeah, sorry about that, Essay.
Oh no, I forgot at this point. No,
happens to us all.
Wasn't important.
That's why sometimes we have to say no. I've got to finish because otherwise we forget.
That's why I let him talk, because if I cut him off, he would have forgot what he was saying. But
I mean, it's great work. Whoever did this, fantastic. I love the creativity, but it's the I think the thing missing from this is the thing that identifies it as a medical vehicle in these skins. I know that it has the little cross where triage is, but maybe something else that's larger that just says, hey, I'm this vehicle. Because if you look at the military vehicles, we use Blackhawks for medical transport, and they do have the white box with the red cross on it, and it's small. You can identify it when it's flying by very easily. But even like tactical ambulances that are ground vehicles have the same thing.
Yeah.
So my thing is just those skins are great. Just somehow figure out a way to incorporate, this is a medical vehicle.
Keep the iconography consistent for medical type thing, I suppose, what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Like we have the Geneva Conventions and a couple other things that, cover large scale military operations that dictate that, vehicles with these symbols. And I hope they do this in the game. I hope that if you shoot down a medical vehicle in a combat situation, your reputation goes down by 5 times more than a combat vehicle. Because it's, considered a war crime.
I think being the space game and the distances we're talking about, I think colors become secondary to silhouette. And I think that this has a pretty unique silhouette. Well, at least I hope it does. To give any opposite example of that would be the Cutlass Red. It'd be a lot harder to tell the Cutlass Red apart from the Cutlass Black or Blue, or Steel for that matter. But this, because it's more unique, you know what I mean? And again, you can take any skin and put on the Cutlass Red, so same problem you're describing there. So it'd be interesting to see how they approach this. But I do agree with you. Yeah, how do you differentiate medical more beyond the silhouette?
Well, it could just be something like you have a choice to make as a pilot. Like, do I run my emergency lights? And if you do run your emergency lights and somebody shoots you down, they lose 10 times the reputation if you didn't have them on.
Yeah,
because if you didn't have them on,
silent, how do I know?
Exactly.
Yeah, and if you're running like a black skin like that one that was at the end, like, you know, you don't kind of look like an ambulance either. So
Yeah. But if you're flashing your lights and going like the clappers, you know, then and someone shoots you down, then that's you're shooting down a medical vehicle.
Yeah. So the other thing that they worked out because of these pictures, it's basically in a large hangar. It appears to have grown by about a third. So it's gone from about 43 meters, being the smallest large, so just above the mole. The mole was the largest medium. So this is the smallest large, or was the smallest large. And now it's about 66 meters. I think some of that is because the rooms, I don't have the image up, but I can go find it. Give me a second. Excuse me, this one, and that's not the right one. It's not big. This one. Where is it? This one. Open image, new tab. This one. So the rooms used to be on a diagonal, and they've, as you saw from the grey box stuff, Algared, they've all gone straight.
Yep.
And if you kind of think it through, once you make everything kind of go straight, it makes the
You need
ship
to make it
longer. I think that's where it's come from. I did have hopes that they'd added other functionality to this because it's now essentially the size of a Connie. In fact, when we kind of scaled it up, it looked a little bigger than a Connie. What I was hopeful for was that you could put the Nurser in the back. Because again, you start to think of this thing working with the Galaxy, working with the Endeavour, a lot of sense they can also carry the ground ambulance. Because at the moment, there's no real medical ship that can carry that. So yeah, I'd like to know your thoughts on that. Would that be a hope for you, or do you think that I think it's pie in the sky personally, but I would have liked to have seen it.
SA?
No, that's a great concept. I didn't consider that, and I think that synergy would be a natural synergy. So yeah, I would love for it to be able to hold it. And I'm not a big fan of that vehicle for a variety of reasons. I don't think it works as a real medical vehicle. I thought they should have done the Spartan platform as a medical vehicle for military, but this isn't a military ship. Clearly, it's a potentially search and rescue, but it's more along the lines of a treatment vehicle. This is not a military medical transport, a Medivac. And I know they call it the Medivac, but you can actually treat people in this vehicle, which is not something you can really do in a military vehicle.
Yeah, I always saw this as the kind of the mobile clinic. You go to an area, you set up, and then people would come to you. But yeah, I see the Ursa not as a military ambulance. It's our standard everyday
one thing
ambulance.
One thing I've noticed doing the ASD facility missions, it's kind of changed how you take damage now. You don't usually go straight to a tier 1 or a tier 2 injury. You tend to get a tier 3, and then if you keep pushing and they keep hitting that limb or chest or head or whatever part it is, it'll then bop up to a tier 2. So it's kind of designed so that you rethink what you're doing. You don't just keep pushing shit through. It's almost more like the initial stages of that time to kill has gone up, and the what they call it, time to disable rather than time to kill. It feels like that, but in human form. And I don't know if other people have been noticing that, but it's been really evident to me because I'll be at a tier 3 and then I'll go to a tier 2 and I'll go, oh shit. Because I can't repair that because I've only got a Pisces. It's like, oh shit, do I go back and So it's not easy with those ASD missions either at the Onyx facility, because like once you're in, it's kind of like you go all the way through or you're dead. It's kind of hard to get out halfway through sometimes. So sorry about that. I missed the cough button. There's a few mysteries left for this one, obviously. Probably a little bit hopeful on my part to think that it would take an Ursa, because you can kind of see there it's possible though. Like you kind of widen the door at the back, you join the cargo and the airlock together and just make it one airlock, and instead of, do you know what I mean? So if they actually made some condolences between converting cargo and stuff like that and moving the components around, there is room there to make it work if they decided to. But I don't know if they had the foresight to realize that putting an Ursa with this would be amazing. I just probably means there's another vehicle coming or another ship coming that focuses on delivering the Ursa, because I just don't think the Connie, it doesn't make sense to have a whole ship that just also has that as a side piece, and that's kind of what the Connie feels like. It's got so much going on, the Merlin, all the turrets, that, you know, it's a jack of all trades, master of none. You need something a bit more focused just in the medical field, and I think this would have been far better if they'd allowed an Ursa to get on it, but I'm not.
I could see them making that airlock ramp cargo area combined, using air shields for an airlock type stuff, because if you're looking at the airlock as being to preserve the cleanliness or the quarantined area, you're going from airlock to the reception, which is where, if it's a clinic, you go and say, yeah, I need to see the doctor, and then you've got the rooms themselves, the med bays themselves, that are those quarantined areas. So you don't really need that. And if you've got an air shield at the entrance being the stopping the atmosphere, then when you're on a planet without atmosphere, you've got that problem. That problem solved. So you could do that. My concern is the fact that it's slightly smaller than a Connie now, if the measurement size is right.
I've just realized you can actually land the C8R2 in the back of the Galaxy. So you've got the ability to do it on the Galaxy. It just means you wouldn't have the ability to do it on this. So maybe the Galaxy is that thing. Maybe it's not this.
Yeah.
It's all Galaxy that does that. So that's why it's gone.
So backing up to that concept, Al, like you were talking about with the air shields, the drone port needs an air shield. So if it already has the technology on the ship, why wouldn't you use it in the rear of the ship for your airlocks?
So that'd be something I'd like to see. And the fact that if it's grown to be almost Connie size, in a sense, that to me just backs up the view that I've had that it's a cut down Connie. But it also means it does look wider than a Connie, or it's been widened to fit that. So that would be almost like the Connie head, the Connie tail, and then the intersections being widened a bit like the Polaris, not the Polaris, the Phoenix's inside makes it look fat. But I've always liked the Apollo, so change is good. They could be, but we'll wait and see.
So quick question on the Apollo. The modular beds was a big feature that they pushed when it came out. Do you still feel that it's going to get the ability to change the 2 medical bays and change the tier level of the beds?
Yes, because when it comes out, we're actually getting all the modules. So we're getting the tier 1 bed. We're getting basically 6 modules, 3 for each side. So we'll get the one for the tier 1 bed, the one tier 2 beds, and the tier 3 bed. So
Grim just sent me a photo. I don't know if it's going to work. I'll drag it over, but it's the new sneak peek, and it is clearly gotta go take it down here.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
Oh, it's just because I'm dealing with multiple windows. There we go. So yeah, that kind of shows they've straightened some things and angled some others. So yeah. But yeah, it's definitely a Zeus aesthetic, so to speak. So it's carrying on that grey blue RSO look.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a tier.
That's the
tier 1.
Looks like a tier 1 to me. Yeah. There's only one bed in the entire room.
Yeah, it looks like the Carrick. Looks like
that's the tier 1 bed in the Apollo.
I think we can say, well, there's the airlock there, but again, I don't reckon it's got an Ursa anymore. I'm now my brain's telling me it's that's what the Galaxy's doing, because it can take the Pisces and it can take the Galaxy up into it. I think that's what they're going for. So this is the first version. The next version gets all that, then a bit more.
I think also the fact that, like, countering that, the fact that this is like your mobile clinic, the one that goes to the areas. We don't need an Ursa. It doesn't need to carry the Ursa. So
because of the drone,
and as a couple of people said in chat, there are enough vehicles that can carry an Ursa.
Yeah, but it was just kind of nice having a one-top shot. But again, I can see that all in the Galaxy now. I think the Galaxy is going to be that, send out the Pisces to pick someone up, or send out the Ursa to pick someone up. and then the whole galaxy runs around that, and then you got the ship that kind of protects the module of the medical people doing their job. So you've kind of got those two distinct areas: the ship that's just getting them where they need to go, and the medical people doing their like enclosed little job within the module. So it makes sense.
So the one thing that I am surprised about with this ship is that it doesn't have an airlock.
It does. It actually says that in that image. It's right here.
Yeah, but that was when they had the up and down airlocks. Now they're doing everything on the side of the ships. So wouldn't you think that it would?
Yeah, but that's sideways airlock. Clearly, look, you come in the ramp, you go through the airlock, and you're into the reception.
Yeah. So that wasn't the
no,
airlock,
I mean
the ship.
I mean for a space station, for a ship to ship or space station to ship airlock. Because if you have a ship doing this type of work, at this point you'd have to, you would think that it would be able to dock with a larger ship to be able to transfer patients.
That's a good point.
Good point.
That's a good point. Yeah, they're not going to be able to do that. It's true. And it is designed to land in the Endeavour, though, so that's the only one it really needs. And you could technically land in a hangar to transfer as well. And they have that emergency med area in all the hangars. So,
but it would need to be.
But what if you had a Connie that had a catastrophic event? Wouldn't you want to dock with it if you could use the airlock to get the injured in versus?
I agree with you, but I'm just trying to think why they've done that, and I can't. The Cutlass Red. Cutlass Red's got the airlocks. But that's maybe how they've given the Cutlass Red a bit of life. It's designed to search and rescue. It connects with the ships and gets people out. This can't do that.
Let's be honest. The only life that the Cutlasses have is because they're Cutlasses.
Well, I'm just trying to play devil's advocate here from a design perspective. Why would they give that airlocks but not this? So it gives it a reason to exist in a weird turn of phrase. I don't agree with it, but I'm just saying that could be why.
And this didn't have top or bottom airlocks before either, so it's never had ship-to-ship airlocks. But I think you're right; it probably does need them.
It says it does. It was in a sneak peek. No, that airlock was the Perseus. Robert JT on Twitch. That was the Perseus. I know the one you're talking about. It was from a couple of monthly reports ago, and that was the Perseus one. Okay.
Of course, the only other one that I do know had airlocks was the mythical onboarding task that was given to someone with the Retaliator, where they turned it into a medship. So that's the only one I can think of with the airlocks. Yeah, given the number of dead we see in the game, Wade, yes, we need a morgue.
I was going to use Hang a Link, but I can't because I'm some kind of bug on Firefox, and Grim tells me it's working fine, so I have to look into it later.
Yeah, Grim's actually banned you. That's what it really is.
No, it's just doing this weird. Look, I'll show you. It's doing this weird, funny thing for me, where it's
I have to go AFK a second. I gotta let the dogs in.
Yeah, no worries. Doing this, I can't get up to the thing, and if I refresh, like if I go back to Hang a Link, it comes out like this, and I click on the thing, and then there's the Let's Go button, but I've actually got to go down here where the button should be.
Yeah, bizarre.
It's like everything's out or offset or something. It's really weird, so I can't really use it at the moment. So yeah.
Indeed.
Right, so we'll look into that later. Okay. Questions then, I guess.
Questions. Okay, so Baller 9999999 says, did the Carrick always have 2 engineering flaws? I have owned this ship for years. I noticed it a couple of days ago. I think so, yeah.
Yeah, it's always had that double floor area. Bigger components at the back and stuff. It's a very interesting engine room, actually. Very different from some of the others. Yeah, interesting nonetheless. So yeah, it always has that. Yeah. Cody Fox.
Rabbit's question.
You want to do well?
So-
do Cody Fox first, because then we can go into Rabbit. So Cody Fox says, "Do you think
Okay.
CIG had a chance in philosophy this year of delivering ships rather than waiting for features or gameplay? Since Idris came early and Apollo came without drones, will there be more priority on just delivering ships ASP?" So you got to remember, they said that the Idris would be coming after Squadron 42. The whole reason we went to the UK was we were told that it was coming, and then something happened and it got canned. So if you do the math, that was when it was meant to come anyway. So that wasn't a surprise to us. But as for the not having drones, I think that's just because they're really focusing on base building. But you also, with the things that are coming in with the FPS and scanning and the bounty hunting, and you're going to probably, like, death is more serious now, they needed the medical stuff as well. So you've got to have the medical before that. Because imagine if they brought in the bounty hunting stuff and didn't have the death stuff. People would be bitching like crazy. I'm fucking dying all the time, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? So now there's more reason to have those medical people out there reviving people.
But and as John Cruz said, gameplay has changed since when the Apollo was first concepted. So it was concepted way back in 17 or 16 or 8, somewhere around that. So I think maybe 18. And back then we didn't have tractor beams. We didn't have all the other tools that were there. So John Cruz's comment was, gameplay's changed since then. The Apollo is not coming with drones. We're giving you all the medbed modules. But it doesn't
I think
have
that's
drones.
kind of included in the price, though, is my feeling.
Yeah.
Like it's.
I hope so.
Yeah. Well, again, look at other large ships like the Corsair, the MSR. You know, it's 250 to 275, and that's before it's released. Right now, we add 10 to 20%, so that means it's going up by $25 to $50 each. You start to see where I mean. This is not a cheap ship. This is not a cheap ship.
It was always an expensive ship.
It's got those modules came with it, and they're kind of and I don't include them as full modules because this. Let's be honest. If I have a Retaliator bomber and a cargo bay, right, they are two very distinct different roles.
Yep.
This is a bed, 2 beds, and 3 beds.
Yeah,
it's it's Goldilocks.
If it was
the same shit. Yeah.
A luxury suite, or living quarters, and you know, with a kitchen and that stuff, and a med bed, that's different.
Yeah.
But when you just bed, it's
three different divisions of the same shit. They kind of all do it the same way. So yeah. Tomo's saying on Twitch he wants to get the red Apollo, because he dies a lot. So
I'm back, by the way.
welcome back.
I'd go for the white because the white one's the better one.
I think that's going to be debatable too, because that's something I do want to actually ask you, SA. But say what you want to say, then I'll ask you. But go ahead.
No, just gonna. Oh, sorry. Go, SA.
No, so the weird thing for me about this ship is they pick the names off of, you know, Triage. Yeah, I get it. Triage is a task. It's not a ship. But they call one a Medivac, and a Medivac is clearly a military medical transport. I mean, that terminology implies that it's a military vessel. And if I remember correctly, when they launched it, that was the one that was in some TV show, like in the verse, where there was like a popular TV show where, you know, basically like ER or something in the States, where there was a weekly medical serial that was based around that ship. So the question is the Medivac a military ship? You know, it has more armor. It doesn't look more military, but I'm just wondering what you think the roles of these two ships will be.
I just think the Medivac was supposedly up-armored and up-gunned, so it had more weapons and better armor, but it was slightly slower. So I think the idea is the kind of medical vehicle. And back in the day, when they used to do these, the more expensive ship was either the luxury/military version. So based on the way they used to sell it, I'd say, yeah, it was a military ship.
I think the armor is meant to make it so it can recover someone under fire with the drone. But this is my problem with this ship at the moment. I don't think there is enough differences between these two ships to have variants. Right? So essentially you're talking 4 extra missiles on each side. Missiles on a medical ship don't make a lot of difference. I'm going to be honest, because they really shouldn't be fighting anyway. And then there's no visual difference in the armor, and the triage is technically faster, like the Gemini to the Starfarer, because it's got extra armor. The Gemini moves slower. It's the same thing with this. The triage is fast because it doesn't have the armor, right? So if that's the only difference, that is such a minuscule difference. It's not funny. Why the hell did they make 2 of these? I just can't see the reason.
They could have put either I think they failed with the design of the Medivac versus Triage. The Triage is going to be a civilian version of the ship. Could it have missiles and weapons? Yeah, maybe that one's fine. But when they did the Medivac, if that's going to be a military ship, they could have put point defense turrets on it. They could have put the same turrets that are on the back of the TAC, the missile turrets that fire to the rear, intentionally for defensive missile turrets.
4 extra missiles that fired backwards would have been way better. Yes, I'll give you that. Take those missiles and put them in a different spot. Then we're talking. Yeah.
I was going to say, given that it's medical, and picking up the idea that medical ships should not be going into combat, PDCs on this ship would have made perfect sense. Get rid of the missile racks completely.
Too small for a PDC.
I know, but
Akani has one. The Phoenix has one. So
and if you listen to the SCL, it was only because it was promised to have one. It's the only reason because now later on they talked about the Reclaimer, they talked about the Phoenix specific, and they said they wouldn't have they said that they wouldn't have given it to them because someone asked about the Ironclad and they said no. They said the only reason the Reclaimer and the Phoenix got them was because it was promised.
Oh, so I'll push back on medical ships going into combat. They do. So in ships that are real world example. Vehicles will go into combat under fire to pick up wounded.
Yeah.
It's not desired, but they do it. So I don't have an issue with this going into combat. I have an issue with it having big guns, which it doesn't have.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
That was my point. When they're going into combat, they've got given PDCs so they can actually defend themselves. Use defensive fire, not offensive fire.
So that is
missiles do.
Real quickly, while you guys are talking, so one of the other things we noticed in this photo is it does appear to have 2 size 4s now on that appear to be pilot. You'd have to assume they're pilot controlled because of where they're positioned.
Yeah,
so the pilot will have 2 size 4s, and this turret is more than likely the co-pilot thing.
That makes 0 sense because the idea of it would be if you're a pilot flying a medical ship, you're not going to turn into the enemy and shoot.
Yeah.
You need a turret on this ship to be able to provide coverage for the ship. The pilot's only responsibility in a medical vessel is to get that vessel
get out of
safety.
Yeah. I think it would have been better to have some kind of phallic shield on it personally than size 4 guns personally. And you just put the shield to the rear or whatever. But yeah, I don't know.
That'd have been very cool, but yeah.
I don't make these decisions. Again, look, they can change things on ships. It's the people that are not going to try and allow them to balance things. That's what's going to cause the issues. You're going to have to lose things on certain ships to make them valuable. But again, what they'll do is they'll just wait till the game is out, then they'll balance them. Because once the game is out and it's released, you can't start to legally fight them. That's what they're worried about. They're worried about people asking for mass refunds and stuff like that. So they'll just wait till it's all out. Game's been released. Cool. Our things are all covered. Now we can start.
And then they'll do a patch and rebalance the classes and all the ships. That's why they've nerfed my ship. They've buffed mine. Yeah.
One of the reasons why I think 1.0 is coming sooner rather than later, so they can actually start balancing ship, because ships that have PDCs now, they could technically take them off. They could just say we need to take them off for balance reasons. Bang. And again, I think you have to let them do that. It is a game. If it's not balanced, it's not going to work.
All right. So, question on the design of the ship. This is clearly an advanced example of the Connie style of a ship in RSI. Do you feel like the Connie 2.0, this is pretty much a preview of that? Because that's the vibes I get from this. I see this being like them feeling it out.
He has detected what I want to talk about on this episode this week.
You mean it's
so I'm gonna shut him the fuck down. Stop telling him to give the game away. No, but that is seriously what I have an idea for an episode this weekend, and that's exactly where I want to go with this one. So yeah, look forward to that this weekend. That's what me and Aaron are going to talk about.
But as people have heard me say multiple times whenever I talk about the Medivac or the Apollo, it's a cut down Connie. The visual cues on this ship have always, to me, been it's a Connie.
I always
It's just
see,
been cut down and modified.
as Tomo will say as well, I didn't take this from Tomo, but I 100% agree with him. It looks like Voyager. It always reminds me of Voyager, the way
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, same.
you know,
Or Defiant. Yeah, it's got those vibes.
not
Very tricky.
not exactly the same, but I kind of hope that they move when it goes into warp or whatever you want to call it.
I thought, looking at the images of it landed here, I could easily see, and I know the original images had the engines in the same place, but I could see the arms of those elevating to almost look like a Star Trek vessel, because like people would love it. It takes off.
Well,
You put up the landing gear and the.
Tomo said the same thing, but I have to shoot him down, and I'll shoot you down too. They won't do that because of copyright reasons.
I agree.
It's the same reason they changed the shit. That's why there's a fin on the wolf, because they can't make it look exactly the same. And I didn't even think it needed a fin. It was so different. Like, it didn't have the big spike bits at the back or anything like that. But it's the same thing here. They can make it move, but if they start to make it deliberately the move as something else, then they'll go, oh, you're literally copying us. You just want to give them any reason to try and sue you, basically.
But I could easily see those engines pulling closer when going to warp.
Yeah, closer or moving back, or like again,
that'd be sweet.
They look like they move like this somehow, but
yeah,
that'd be sexy.
That's exactly what I see as well, X.
Yeah.
But I would love to see that happen. And if you look,
but
back
isn't that what
Connie,
happened in Voyager? They were kind of like horizontal and they turned vertical type of thing. That's what it was in Voyager, wasn't it? Or am I remembering incorrectly?
I can't remember, to be honest.
I don't remember that in Voyager, but yeah, I mean, it's been quite a while.
I do remember what the Connie used to be like, and the top nacelles on the Connie were supposed to originally pulling close when it was in quantum or jumping, and then the engines were also supposed to pivot to give it greater turning speed. That back in the day when it was a space superiority fighter.
Yeah, I think I'm right. I think it did turn that they were horizontal and they turned vertical when it warped. I could be wrong, but that's kind of how I'm remembering it. But yeah, you can
couldn't it
clearly
do two different types of warp?
Shit, now you're getting technical on me. But you can definitely see the
resemblance.
The resemblance. It's not exactly the same, but it's kind of like the Meteor to the Enterprise. They have similar skews, but because they're different sizes, they can get away with things. So, yeah. About 45 degrees. Yeah. So someone else is saying the same thing. Yeah. So I remember them rotating when it warped. So,
yeah.
Honestly, I love that they're paying kind of an homage to, Star Trek to like the Scorpius. Like, I love that they're paying an homage to these different styles of fighters. For us, I mean, that's our childhood, right? Like, as we're older guys, like that's, all the things that we dreamed about. So, I mean, one, it's smart monetarily. Two, they're kind of fulfilling our dreams in a weird way.
Well, let me, the one I'm going to ask him about. So, I want to know what you think of this one. Just as a side note, the Klingons did they had warbirds, right? Or birds of prey, right? So take this essentially, and it's a Tavaran warbird.
I think it's more of a like a Scythe. I think that's where they got the design language for the Vanduul.
Oh yeah, now you mention it, I can kind of see that. You could be right there.
I mean, it's the same thing. Basically, it's just a fighter.
Yeah. Okay. Well, my thought process though was because like you've got the Tavaran ships and they're all bird-like anyway, so why not make it the Tavaran warbird? I think that'd be kind of cool. But yeah. Now you mention it, it does look kind of like a Scythe and a glaive. I can see it now.
I think the old Romulan ships do better Tavaran than the Klingon ones, but
yeah, I'm not
agreed.
Really, I think they're just a little bit too symmetrical for maybe this one, but like the actual warbird just looks.
Look at that head. Look at the head of those ships. Like look at that.
They're beaky. They're always beaky.
Yeah, but so's the Klingon one. Oh, I guess not. But yeah, you could take elements of both. I just don't like the double wing thing. That's it looks like it's trying. Do you know what this reminds me of? Right, if you take the head off. Cut the head of the whole ship off. It's literally a shopping bag full of air.
Yep.
That's
but
what
if
it looks
you fill in the gaps, if you fill in the center of the ship, that is a Tavaran ship.
And if you look at the earliest Tavaran ships or Romulan ships that didn't have warp technology, they were sub-warp. they were also, their key weapon was a massive nuclear mine because and their plasma weapon because they just couldn't walk.
Well, they'll be updated though too. That's true.
But you look at the Tavaran when we first encounter them, they don't have jump drive technology, so it kind of.
Oh well. Either way, I'm interested to see how they go. I think we did a poll on it on here, and I did one on the captain's table when I was on there too, and it was a bit more than 50%. Like because it was on Twitch, it was about 50-50, but on YouTube it was like 75 people were yes, 25% no. So if you even it out, maybe it's about 60% yes. I'd still say it'd sell fairly well.
Now to pick up your points. It's Easy Lagoon says the Scythe is Battlestar Galactica.
Oh yeah.
Actually, it is
a Cylon,
but
well, it's obviously clearly borrows from all of them. Let's be honest.
Exactly.
I wouldn't be surprised if when they were designing the Scythe, they had both ships there in their kind of inspirational type.
Yeah, they probably had it up there for their reference.
What are the bad guy ships in sci-fi? Let's take our cues from that.
Yeah, basically.
I would be shocked if the modelers didn't have like a wall just with all the iconic starfighters and ships on it to be able to pull cues from. I mean, the best ideas that I've ever had, I've stolen from someone else.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like we just steal certain cues, we build on them, and the nostalgia takes over. I mean, look at the, it's kind of funny. Like I would say probably, and you guys tell me what you think about this. Probably 80% of the fighters pull cues from, ships that have already existed in other sci-fi.
Yep, or they're pulling cues from modern world fighters or things that have made their mark on people. So, yeah.
I mean, and we all know that Chris loves World War II, and where did Star Trek and Star Wars and everything get their cues from? They got them from World War II fighters, and they modified it from there.
So someone in chat said, look up the what did they say? They said look up the Romulan ships from Picard, and I did that, and this is the type of things that came up. I'm not sure if this is what he means, but they do look a little bit Tavaran.
Yeah.
I can see what he's going for there.
And they're like the Talis is basically their pre-warp ships. That's the really early stuff.
Yeah. So that might
and they'd have the paints of and they used to paint them with the birds symbols on them. But yeah, to me they're the classic Romulan ships, and the ones that the Klingon ships that get bought in that's a trade deal. But yeah.
That Shady Phase. That was Shady Phase that suggested that. All right, so now I want to go on to the ship showdown, especially while we've got SA here. Clearly, if you look at the vote, the Polaris is going to smash it. It's already, oh God, I didn't bring you guys with me. My bad, sorry. It's going to smash it. It's clearly more than double already. So I think we can safely say the Polaris has got that one in the bag based on the way every other vote's gone this week. So our final four, as we predicted on Captain's Table, is exactly as we predicted: Asgard, Gladiator, Zeus, and Polaris. I think we can say, just based on the number of votes, because I don't know if you can pull up the numbers, but the numbers were massive for the Asgard every time. That's what really surprised me. Both votes hit over 25k. That is a lot of votes for said ship. So I'd be very surprised if the Gladiator even stands a chance. That said, our job is done for the Gladiator. We only wanted to get it a skin. We've got it to where it needed to go. If it goes further, good on it. But we got it at skin. So yeah, what do you guys say about that? What you hopeful for the Gladiator, or you think it's slim to none?
I'll go ahead.
I would love to see. I was just waiting because I can't see visual cues from you, SA. But I'd hope that Gladiator would go ahead just because it's one of my favourites. It's got one of the deepest lores in game. Like you look at the lore for the Asgard and the Polaris. What lore have they got? Tiddly squat, basically. The Gladiator's got deep lore. It's a ship that was used in the defense of the Orion system. It's tied to the Lost Squad, which they expanded on that story because of a story of the Gladiator being used by this squad that fought for Last Man and held up the Vandal invasion.
Yeah.
It was used in magazine promotions of Star Citizen way back to show detail of ships.
Mm-hmm.
It's this ship that's so old and so long in the tooth in terms of the Star Citizen.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got the in-game lore as well, whereas the Polaris has got more than the Asgard. The Asgard, what is it? It's got nothing. So I'd love to see it, but
just before Algared talks, not Algared, sorry, SA talks. A lot of the votes here, you can see, I deliberately did turn my votes on, by the way, so people could see. I deliberately went. A lot of the times I went for the underdog. I was trying to, like, say, MTC, Raft, Corsair, Mole. So I am trying to get some other votes in there because, again, I don't really have a horse in this race. I think the Polaris is the only. Oh, the Zeus, the Polaris and the Zeus, and the Zeus is not one I'm probably going to keep, but the Polaris is probably the only ship that I will have the skin for, so to speak. So I don't have many horses in this race. But yeah, I'm just trying to get some people's skins that probably I thought was probably a bit more deserving. Again, I'm a bit disappointed there's no starter ship in the lineup. I really think that they need a starter ship category. That would be the one big amendment I would make to this whole thing. But anyway, SA, your thoughts on the Asgard vs Gladiator, and feel free to Gladiator because I know you're a big fan of it as well.
Well, I mean, I think the Asgard's coming into this competition with wind, behind it, pushing it forward. It's a fairly new ship. It was the redesign of the Valkyrie that everybody kind of wanted.
Yep.
Like it made the Valkyrie what people really wanted the Valkyrie to be, and good for CIG to listening to the community, because the community's been complaining about that. I mean, I think you guys know my feelings on that ship. I made them pretty clear. It's far better than I thought it would be. It needs jump seats in the back. There's a couple things it needs, but other than that, it's the bottom deck on the front is not a really good use of space, which wouldn't happen in a military vehicle. But that being said, it's what the Valkyrie should have been. It really did evolve the Valkyrie concept, and it looks good.
Well, the Valkyrie is really just for 4 Cyclones now. It's kind of
aside. The sense I get with the Asgard is that I sensed 100 million Valkyries melted, cried out in anguish as they were melted. That type of thing. Because the Asgard, as most people say, and that was the thing. Remember when we were talking at the beginning, I said, "No, save it for the show." That was my point. Yeah. The Asgard is basically the ship that everyone.
I think
wanted.
That's probably why the Asgard's winning the vote, because I think you could take almost everyone that brought, except the Liberator version of the Valkyrie. They probably held onto that for valuable reasons, but everyone else probably just melted it because they went, well, I'm going to get money back, and all I have to do is put in like $50 to buy an LTI token and then upgrade it. So essentially, they were getting more than they were losing. So I think you're right. I think everyone that had a Valkyrie just went, oh, especially if they've been watching anyone that knows how to do upgrade stuff. Like, and let's be honest, I feel like I'm having to do that less and less these days. I think our job's done. I think that's a really simple. Well, again, I'll just give me a 1 in chat if you melted and upgraded your melted your Valkyrie and upgraded to an Asgard. I'd just be curious to see how many people did that. If there was at least a few.
Yeah, I would be too.
Yeah, just give me a 1 in chat. I'd be curious. See if we get like 10 of them and see what people say.
Yeah. So where I feel like they failed with the Asgard is that the fact that it can fit a Nova in it. Let's be really honest. A ship that size should not be able to carry a Tonk. Do
you think that
it should be too heavy?
And I think the reason why it lost so many people and seats is to accommodate that weight.
Accommodate it, yep.
So the way that I wanted this to go, I love the concept of the Asgard. What I wish they would have done is what we talked about doing with the Redeemer back in the day, where a Cyclone could fit. It had no rear section, and a Cyclone could be boom slinged underneath it and then dropped. I wish this had that feature where the Tonk was exposed. There was no bay for it, and it was just connected to the ship. And when you landed, you could drop the Tonk, not go down a ramp, but like boom sling it in, and that would have made more sense to me. But anyways, I'm getting off track. I get why Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, there's a couple of people that did that. They melted the Valk and got the Asgard, and there's even some people that kept their Asgard. So yeah.
Valkyries, yeah.
Oh yeah. Sorry, my bad. I said backwards. But you get my point.
So I think the Asgard's going to go into the competition strong. That being said, and I would like to know the opinion of the viewers and you guys as well. The Gladiator is the only ship since concept that hasn't really gotten a rework. It got an upgrade with weapons. It's gotten, a little bit of love, but the reason why I think it hasn't gotten a full pass and really reworked is because it's gorgeous. Like, it is the only original ship that really stands up. Where you look at the aesthetics, you're like, this needs minor changes. It doesn't need major changes.
Yeah.
And it was I think it was the 5th or 6th ship. Am I right about that?
It's pretty much the first fighter that came out after the original 5. That's how old it is. It's very, very old.
Yeah.
And I think it was really originally designed to be the bomber in that Squadron trailer we saw last year that is now the Retaliator. I think it's kind of been left because they moved on to the Retaliator.
Yeah.
But I mean, sorry, I'll go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and they as weapon creep creeped in, the bomb bays on it were just too small for the bigger torpedoes. And I think they also, where it was based on a World War II bomber, when they brought out the Eclipse, which was based on the modern bomber, it just, the roles for it just disappeared. But
so where I think they failed with the Gladiator was, one, the concept that I sent you, X, that was on the mouse pad that I have, the original concept, which doesn't have the turret on it, is just gorgeous. Like, it's such a, I think you've seen it too. It's on the Anvil original mouse pad, where it was the concept art without the turret on the back.
I'm going to go
If
back
they would
about
have done
6 months to fucking find it, but yeah, I'll try and find it.
I know, it was a while ago.
while you're doing that,
I got it.
While you're doing that, first time chatter on Twitch, Esther says, hi.
I've already beat you to it.
Thanks for joining us.
Dennis already, yep. Oh yeah, here it is.
If
this is the one you were talking about, by the way. There's your mouse pad shot you sent me.
So if you look at it, I mean, obviously it's way different, silhouette, just removing that turret. But imagine taking the ball turret, because it does have that circular feature on the top back of it, or the bottom and not on the bottom, on the top. Imagine adding the ball turret from the Super Hornet or the Hornet on that so you have a second gunner, but the gunner has that ball turret. It's a remote turret. I think that would have fixed this ship. That's the only major change that it really needs. In addition to that, they need to give it more mounting points for more bombs and missiles. If they do that, or torpedoes.
So that's actually a question that came up that I know Algared's going to want to answer. And Ash just asked that on Twitch, so we can probably answer that now. He literally just said, question, do you CIG should make torp swappable to bombs in the Gladiator? And that's exactly how he wrote it, but he meant, do you think CIG should make the torps swappable to bombs? And you actually asked...
I actually asked them that question when we were talking
at lunch. Yeah.
And their question is to... Yes, they could see it, but because the bombs are so small compared to the torpedoes, if you put bombs in there, you end up with this massive waste of space. Now, I think they should. I think they should give it the variants that it's supposed to have. It's supposed to have a cargo pod. It's supposed to have, it was doing cargo drops and supply missions to people behind the enemy lines and helping evacuate and supporting evacuations of civilians.
Which bombers did in World War II.
So this was that really key thing. So it was doing cargo pod. It was doing bombing runs. It was doing torpedo runs. So they were the modules that this ship originally was kind of designed with being able to do. It's never been done. And CIG was saying, well, do we do variants or do we do modules? Now, John's comments about modules working now gives me hope that they would be able to turn the torpedoes into bomb racks, just like he was saying they could possibly do with the Reclaimer or Retaliator. But their concern with this is if they just put bomb bays in, the bombs are just too small. So what do you do with space? My thought is you give it extra components, extra shield or extra power plant or...
His thought
Or you
process
change the
was
metrics on the bombs.
yeah, his thought was to do a variant that had a bomb bay instead of a bomb bay instead of a torpedo bay. But I think you could just make, like, they have bespoke shit already. Why can't you just have a bespoke bomb rack just for this?
Yeah.
That replaces
And-
the torpedo rack and it just has more bombs in the space.
And that's not a bad idea, because that's exactly what John Crew was saying he'd probably do with Retaliator. I keep going to call it Reclaimer with its bombs, rather than giving it a different module, giving it swappable racks. So why wouldn't you do that with the...
Did anyone else see how funny that was? He went to go, I keep calling it the Reclaimer, and then actually called it the Reclaimer when the first time he didn't call it the Reclaimer. It was so good. You actually fucked yourself. It was so good. I couldn't clip that any better if I tried. It was
I started
so
to call
good.
it Reclaim. I did actually start to call it Reclaimer and stop myself. But, you know, the Retaliator, John Crew was saying one of the things he'd probably do with that, if he was giving it bombs, was to actually give it swappable racks.
Yeah.
Why not just give this swappable racks?
Yeah. So long story short, without going all the nitty gritty, there are multiple options here that they can do. They can make it a variant. They can put in different bomb racks that go over the top. They could make the whole thing bloody modular if they wanted to. Regardless, I think they do need to give it some utility. It is. I'll put this back to you two, especially Essay, because he's the military guy. But I've always seen bombers as kind of more support-based than full action-based. And so if this can also do bombs, but it also could drop off cargo, so like it had some kind of drop pod thing it could drop off, you know, and excuse me, you know, give it a bit of versatility in that utility support role. I think it would add a bit of life to this ship. I do think that they need a bit of work on the guns for the turret specifically, because the turret was always the weird issue with this one. And I know they like the Jace aerospace seats, but I think they need to update them somehow. It's that I had exactly the same problem with the Hurricane. I don't like how they kind of come down to the ground. Like it's great when you're in a hangar, but when you're in space, it's just a little weird. Like I just don't see how that works, so to speak. It does make them different to get into, so you could leave it there if you wanted to, but it's just something I've always found really awkward about that ship, is just that the design for ground, and you could very quickly see in the very first prototype of that ship, they would just get rid of it because it's just so weird and awkward.
100. Go on, X.
SA. He's doing it again. We got the same name. Starts with E. C's getting us mixed up. Anyway, it's fine.
You and I get our names mixed up.
Yeah, I know.
No, so what I like about the seats in particular is that it's a unique experience, and this is a fighter bomber that's designed for carrier-based operations, which it wouldn't be landing on the ground. It would be landing on a carrier 99.9% of the time. So I think the seats make sense. I think it's a unique experience.
So just to clarify, the seat problem I have is when it's in space. When you're EVAing, it's really weird to get back into these chairs.
So if they gave you the option for the canopy to open up to get in, would that fix that? So we have two options to get in?
Absolutely.
No ladder to get in.
Absolutely.
But just the canopy could open.
Absolutely. Fixed. Done. Yep. Done.
Yep.
Yeah. And so and that could work. So if you look at the image that we have on the screen now, if they get rid of that turret in the second position, you could very easily make like a dual opening canopy that people could get into. So well, I can see that working.
Again, in the traditional, in the version of Gladiator we have now, it would be a problem for the turret, but wouldn't be a problem for the pilot. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think I don't understand why they already haven't decided to give it the ball turret from the Hornet. And maybe it's like, oh, it'll be too overpowered. It'll be like a competitor of the Hornet. It wouldn't be. It's vastly less maneuverable. It's slower. So I don't see that being an issue. The whole idea of the turret is to give it coverage into the rear when it's doing bombing runs. And I think that would fix the issue.
Well, it's also interesting you say, you asked the question as to overpower the Hornet. Because in lore, I originally got this wrong. I originally thought the Gladiator came first and in lore, and then the fighter came second. But in lore, the Gladiator is developed from the Hornet. So the Hornet's got the ball turret, it's got the cargo pod, it's got the sensor suite. So
Well, it's
if it's
essentially giving some of that to the Gladiator, is what you're saying.
So if the Gladiator is based off the original Hornet type hull and then redone to fit with the torpedo bombing, why doesn't it have the modularity of a Hornet still? Why does it? So I can see a reason for it, and I agree with you. I don't think it'd overpower it. I think it'd, because it's got a distinctly different role. It's a bomber rather than and I think it's more a dive bomber like the Dauntless rather than a torpedo bomber. Is probably where it really fits it into that thing. But yeah.
So it has one more thing, and especially Al, I want to ask you about this because I know that you've probably noticed this in the past because you love the ship as much as I do. If you look at the front of it, it has like a bomb sighter. It has like a mobile camera, and it's that little drop down thing on the chin. Has a little lens on it, and the design of it was clearly meant to be, this is your bomb sighter. This is the thing that the secondary person in that cockpit uses to sight in for bombing runs and torpedo runs. And they're the ones that control it. It's kind of like in modern day terminology, it'd be like a remote control smart bomb that you could guide in, but it would be manual.
Or the laser pointer for the bomb. So that you keep that on the target and the bomb will guarantee to hit that laser pointer. But yeah.
So to me, that would make this ship one of the coolest two-person gameplay loops, because you have the idea of having a turret that you'd have to operate manually to be able to defend the vessel, but then you have to make a decision. Do I get off the turret and then I have to sight in the target to be able to do the bombing run? And to me, that is like where this ship could potentially shine, where you give it that second person in the seat. You have multiple roles. You're managing engineering. You're managing the defensive turret. You're managing the bombing. And, the pilot is just focusing on bringing it into target without getting blown up. And it brings the synergy that I think that the closest we've gotten is the Hurricane, where you need the cooperation between the pilot and the gunner, the second seat.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I could see if a co-pilot's doing those things, that's the type of thing where you could see giving the gunner or giving the pilot those larger ship weapons, so he can actually clear the space in front if you're under attack. But you've got the tail, you've got the turret gunner doing the defense of a ship from a rear. He's doing the targeting of the bombs, and the pilot's doing his job of keeping the ship safe. So having the pilot have those ship weapons, because the roles of those two crewmen are so distinct. It's one of those situations where I could actually cope with the pilot having bigger guns. I know it sounds weird, but yeah.
Well, you get that dialogue that we all want in this type of game, which is the pilot, yelling back like, give me more power, and like, I'm a little busy right now. I'm shooting, you're defending the ship and shooting the back, and like, all right, we're almost on target. And you're like, I got 2 fighters on me, I can't come off.
So the gunner gets called R2. R2, give me more power. Can you fix that coupling? So sorry.
That's
bit of a Star Wars reference there.
Good. So let's move on to the Zeus and the Polaris. Look, my issue with the Zeus is it's too pokey. I know some people really like that, but I don't. I think it does had a lot of really nice design visuals in it that came along with it, but you can now clearly see that that's going to be rolled out to everything else, or most everything else in the RSI lineup. So it's not going to be that unique anymore.
Well, and going back to our conversation, you even raised the pokiness of a Zeus with Ben. John and Ben at the time, and Ben said, I wanted it to be even more pokey. He wanted to get that whole idea of that being really condensed, typical early space flight type.
Yeah, he wanted to be a copy of the original Zeus. I get where he was going with that, but it just doesn't work from a game. Again, if you're in a ship and you're working in it every day, maybe the first time, but you don't want those annoyances. Like, we couldn't even walk past each other in the doors and stuff. It was just really annoying. And I could see it getting, like, it was just going to, that combined with the needlessly small butthole of the ship so you can't get the cargo in properly, it's just like, all these things, again, in real world circumstances would have been worked out in prototyping and thrown out. So they are design restrictions rather than, especially things like having, like once you start getting up to plus 100, like getting the cargo in is really difficult, but then also you're gonna have to put them in certain size boxes so you can load them on the sides and stuff. So the max just becomes better, the raft becomes better, like it's just, the CL really dropped off for me a lot. Considering you're paying more for it over, say, a raft, you see where I'm going with this pretty quickly. Like, it just does not add up. Again, obviously you're getting better protections, but you got to, when you know, you're not going to be under attack all the time if you're doing common sense stuff with a raft, right? You really are going to be doing that. You're just trying to push it out. You're trying to get all. Look at the Hurston resource drive thing that you've just done. Did you even try and do it once with the Zeus? I'm assuming no.
Oh.
Right?
No,
I did.
I gave up on the transport missions because the lift never worked.
Right. But I did, and it was a freaking nightmare. I tried multiple ships to see what it was like. Like I tried the Hercules, Caterpillar, Zeus, Raft, a whole freaking stack of them, right? Because I wanted to learn things, right? And the Raft is really, really good at what it does. It's not going to be great at combat. It doesn't fly the best, but boy, can it move cargo in a really good way.
I did use the Raft. On the few times I did get it working, I did have a raft, and it was absolutely brilliant. It was the easiest ship to load cargo.
How busy you've been, SA? I'm assuming you haven't even been in game in a while.
Yeah, no, I think last time I was in game was about 2 months ago.
It's been a hot minute.
No, I haven't tried the missions. I need to. I need to make time to do it. I've wanted to. It's just that I've got a lot going on.
Grim saying that the Asgard is good for those halls. It is, but it still has the height of the roof problem. So again, the raft's just got this really quick, easy way to load, and it's right up there with the Hull C. In fact, I find it a bit easier than the Hull C or the hulls in general, because you don't have to go side to side. You just all up in one spot. At that, the raft combined with the Atlas was just. I have a new, like, it wasn't the raft for me that was the takeaway. It was the Atlas, and the fact that it wasn't on this vote thing really pissed me off, because it was, if you go back and look at the votes, the Atlas was up there almost with the raft, and I think they just removed it. I think it's only ships. I think they've removed all the vehicles from this. If that's the case, you need to have a vehicle showdown or a vehicle room off, or whatever you want to call it. 6 months later, so do this in January for vehicles.
No, they have a vehicle in here. I mean, I think
the Ursa, but yeah, but they class Titan suits something different. So they just removed it. It was higher up than the Nursa. I'm telling you that from votes, right? It should have been in this, and it wasn't. They've excommunicated it.
And certainly, if you look at what they even said, we'd look at how the ship was used in the game. It was used a heap in the current mission system.
Yeah, see that really depends how you see. So Hook 2005 kind of looks at it a different way. He doesn't look at it as a vehicle. He looks at it as a suit. So it's like a piece of armor. See, that's probably how CRG.
Like
that's how CRG could be looking at it. So I don't see it like that. I see it like a vehicle. But everyone's gonna see it in different ways. I think it should be on this list though.
When it costs the same as a PT, an MPUV, yeah, it should be.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So Polaris, as Grim says himself a few times in his stream, it is the standard to which they have to kind of hit now. I think with bigger ships, it has shown that it really showed a lot of people what the game will be like with those bigger ships, and I think a lot of people turned around to the concept of bigger ships being possible. Some people are still scared of engineering, but I think once it lands, they'll understand it's an actual gameplay, not a restriction. And it'll actually provide a strength, not a weakness. Being able to repair on the fly is going to be absolutely massive. It's going to extend the life out of those ships, and the communication and teamwork you're going to get is going to be absolutely amazing. Having multiple teams trying to do different things on the same ship will be really cool, and I am looking forward to it. So obviously not too long. Hopefully, they've been doing the tech previews. I didn't get into the first one, but I got into the second one. And after some driver issues, I got it working, and there is a noticeable performance increase. That's about all I'm going to say. I can't really say much because I'm under NDA, but look forward to some good stuff coming. And if I've said too much, CIG, I apologize, but it is worth stroking your ego. You've done very well.
but when you look at the different roles of crew and and different teams trying to do different things, that's exactly the type of thing that SA was picking up with the Gladiator in terms of the roles that the pilot and gunner, and it's exactly the same type of thing we've found with the Hurricane with the pilot and gunner. The different roles that makes you have to do that synergy to work together. And
well, I think both of you would admit, having seen the Polaris, it does make you excited for the Perseus because you can kind of just, do you know what I mean? You can go, ooh, ooh, you know what I mean? So like, that's what I'm trying to imply.
Look, I've been using, I use the Idris quite a bit, and just the different roles that are on the Idris, it's the that type of stuff where you're going to have different teams is Polaris on steroids. I was using the Retaliator, the Reclaimer. I did it again to do the small missions, cargo missions. So I'd go pick up the mission and then salvage all the ships that I destroyed and everything else. So I'd make several 100,000 per trip just doing the salvage. But if you had crew doing those different roles, oh man, the gameplay just goes through the roof.
Yeah, and it's going to show why things like the old flight meta had to go and stuff once that all comes in. It's just been a work in progress, obviously. So I think realistically we're going down to an Asgard Polaris fight off, so to speak. I think the Asgard's got an uphill battle there. I could be wrong. But I just feel that the Asgard's probably pissed more people off going along than the Polaris has in a way. And I think the Asgard's only been out 3 months, where the Polaris has been out 9 or more. And I've seen a lot more Polarises than I've seen Asgards. Yeah, so it is a tough one to call. So Pissball Pete says Asgard's had more sales. It's going to be close as fuck. And I kind of agree with him. It is a hard call, but I do think the Polaris is probably more deserving. And I mean that from the design of it, the way they push the ship, what the ship, what it means for the game is essentially what I'm trying to say. Where the Asgard, to me, came on the back of the Valkyrie. Like, it's like they've essentially killed the Valkyrie to create the Asgard, and that's what I know that sounds like a silly way to look at it probably to some people, because if I look at the Asgard alone, I can see the benefits of it. But again, it's weirdly priced because, again, for $50 more, you can get a C2 and it does 2 vehicles. So you're paying, like, it's just a weird one for me to, I don't know. I'll put that off to you two. You guys weigh in there. What, make case for both, so to speak.
I'd like to hope the Gladiator could knock off the Asgard. I don't think it's going to do it. And even if it does, like, I think the Gladiator's got an uphill battle in the next 2. If it gets through the next one, it's really struggling. The only way it'll do it is for me.
Yeah, I don't think it's got a chance, to be honest, with just the votes I've seen on the Asgard. It's really high.
Yep. But when you come to Asgard and Polaris, I think the Polaris stomps on the Asgard. There's chat saying, whenever I leave a hangar, that's what I see. I see a Polaris. Yeah.
Well, the Polaris and the Asgard both got around 25k votes. So it is, as Pete put it, close as AF. So, SA, your thoughts on the Asgard Polaris there at the end?
I mean, this part of the competition makes me a little sad. I was hoping that the Gladiator would get the same type of energy that the MPUV did. Where people had other ships.
I don't think it's quite as memeable. That's why it hasn't had the same. Yeah,
it is the only. I mean, and you brought this up in a conversation between you and I, and you mentioned it here. It's the only original ship that didn't have a skin.
There is one more actually. We found one in the last month that was called the 85X.
Really?
Yep, and Pissball Pete was trying to. Well, if you look at that, it was the Gladiator versus the 85X, and Pissball Pete was like, "I'm going to go against everyone that's been planning for the Gladiator for the last 12 months," and then cried when
that's not a. That's not an original ship though. That came along after the 890 jump. It came with you.
The 890.
I think it's not as functional as the Gladiator. It's not as old as the Gladiator. But I'll tell you this: if it doesn't have a skin by this time next year, I'll be pushing it because it will be the last thing that needs one.
Yeah, so, I agree.
Yeah.
No, I agree. It needs one. I guess my point is, I would love to see the Gladiator win, only to make a point to CIG that these older ships that people are attached to need love. And the Polaris doesn't need another skin. It has them. You know, the Asgard doesn't need another skin. It has one.
Look what I did. Look what I did. Look what I did. I did a thing.
Tavassen does says the Gladiator was 23,000.
Read over there on our screen. Look, Pete's getting mad. Look, Pete's got mad. Yep. I made Pete mad. Oh, yep. I won. Oh, he's getting mad in Discord. PC101's laughing because he's got mad.
Yeah, now I will
go Judas. Go Judas. Go Judas.
I did notice that one up in chat that's Tavassen says that the Gladiator wasn't too far off. It had 23,000 votes.
Okay, that's not too bad.
That's actually more than I when I last.
If
looked.
it had been Gladiator versus Zeus, Gladiator would have won.
Yeah,
I'll put it this way. I think it's going to come third. Is what I'll give it.
I sold off my Idris many years ago. Got the refund for it so that I could get a Polaris, because when the Idris bumped up to a frigate versus a Corvette, I was like, that's just too many people. I want something I can do with like 12, friends, minimum. And I was really looking forward to Polaris. That was my go-to ship. It was in my fleet for, I don't even know how many years, at least 10. Well, 8 maybe. I can't remember when it came out, but fairly recently, when it came out, and X, you and I have talked about this. I hate the interior of the Polaris. I love the ship. I love the concept. I love all the pieces. I don't feel like they nailed the interior, and it doesn't. I think you and I probably need to get in it and run some missions, and for me to get a real feel for it from what you've told me. But the Polaris, I think, gets more love than it really deserves. I feel like it's a really well-designed ship. The aesthetics have nailed it. It's got some design flaws, but it has a ton of potential, but they're never going to redo it.
So for me,
it's going to be...
I think they are going to add to it over time. I think they already have. They've redone the greebling on the outside. They are making corrections to it as they go along, and I think they will continue to do so. And I think... like we talked about this yesterday on Grimm's show on Star Jump. One of the things about the ending of concept sales, right, is that we can't give them feedback until the ship's out. And because of that, we get problems with like what happened with the Starlancer and stuff, right? And we've seen other problems where the MSR only has one entry point. So any of those ships that they've kind of done in a vacuum and not listened to our advice, they tend to have mistakes. They are only human, and we all make freaking mistakes. Let's be honest. Algared and I've made mistakes today. I haven't been prepared. Algared's been repeating himself, saying the wrong words. Like, again, it's just, who cares? Just own your mistakes, move on. And I think that they often regularly say they want our feedback. Well, then you need to show us where the ships are at, even if they're only halfway through, or that even if you're not going to sell it, show us the concept so we can go, and again, like we always say, you don't want to say you guys are a bunch of dickheads. You want to say what the problem is and give that constructive feedback so it's actually fixable. And I think that's the reason why they've kind of closed down a bit, because they have to go through so many things on Spectrum. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of people don't use Spectrum, right? They just don't use it because of the way it's structured. So if you fixed it so we can actually get the proper problems up to the top by having downvoting, then you'd get a lot more proper feedback. But the way you're saying that you don't want to do concept sales anymore just tells me you don't want feedback anymore. And I'm worried about that because you're going to have to redesign a lot of stuff now.
Well, I think the idea was that I wanted to move away from concept sales anyway, but doing concepts, showing the concept work, was not a bad thing.
But how many ships have we seen, Algared, like the Starlancer that just came straight out, warts and all?
Yeah, we haven't seen anything. We've seen it warts and all. But I think part of the problem goes back to the Freelancer. And you'll remember the problem with the Freelancer is when they stopped really seemed to cut down on the feedback. Because everyone said, change for windows on the Freelancer, but do this, and they said it doesn't work. We've tried it, and everyone kept saying, do it, and they did it, and it didn't work, and everyone said, go back, it didn't work.
Long story short, the problems with the Polaris are fixable. They're all minor things like instead of it just being the same color all the way through, have some color breakups, have some signage, some things like that. That they are all fixable, right? There's nothing that is super drastic rework territory. It's all fixable in my book. But again, yeah, I'll
Well-
take some time and go through it with you. So
Yeah, I mean, my hope for the contest is I actually don't think the Polaris is going to pull it out. And the reason why is because I think a lot of people love that ship, but I don't think enough people own it. And when you look at ships that people want to own and use, I think the Asgard's probably in the best position. It's that, military transport that you and I talked about for years. Where it's like, they haven't done a proper military transport. They haven't done a proper military transport. And they finally did it. And it works. It's not perfect, but I think that they took the version 3 of the Valkyrie, I think, is going to be where that frame finally finds its really sweet spot. But
so what the Paladin?
I think exactly. No, I think the Asgard's going to pull it out only because of ownership. Because people want the skin. And I think the Polaris is getting so many votes because people love the ship, not necessarily because they're going to spend hundreds of dollars on it.
Realistically, let's just call it here. It doesn't matter because they're all getting a skin. It's just bragging rights at this point. It's just a pissing contest. So let's be honest. Which is
why I want the Gladiator to win.
So because it's just a paying contest,
if it's just a pissing contest, let's vote for the Gladiator. Because honestly, it really doesn't matter. Like, they're all just going to get the skin. And in previous years, it got like a better looking skin or a different looking skin, or it got something like a backpack that tailored towards it. But they haven't done that in the last couple of years. It's literally just been the same skin on all 4 of them. So, yeah.
And I think
what I would love for the Gladiator, I would love for them to make a statement, or us as a community to make a statement with the Gladiator of, you haven't given your older ships enough love. There's certain ships that have fallen through the cracks, like the 85X, like the Gladiator. You went back and did the Mark II, the Hornet. That's fantastic. Another ship that really needs a lot of love, the Herald. The Herald needs love. And, there's certain ships that they put out that we all fell in love with. The Merchantman's getting it. But I mean, remember when the Herald came out and it was asymmetrical and it sold like crazy? And then they said, "Oh, we can't deal with the physics. Like, we need to make it symmetrical." And they did that. And how many got melted? Do you think? I think it was probably 90% of them.
Lots.
I
think X got rid of his because he was.
What did I get rid of? Sorry,
fell in love with the asymmetry of the Herald.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I got rid of mine too.
He had the Herald. He loved it because it was asymmetrical, and then they changed it.
I'm just doing a quick poll. Hang on. I'm just doing a quick poll on both, just to see, kind of gauge if it was a final for the Polaris versus Asgard, which we would vote for. So let's just do a little one here, so we can get a little taste tester of the community and see. And I don't know which way it's going to go, but I'm seeing people say both things. So I thought stuff it. We'll just do a poll and. So it's about 50-50 on Twitch right now with 10 votes. It's 61 Asgard, Polaris 42. Polaris coming back up. So we'll let it run for a couple of minutes and we'll have a look. Sorry, SA. Sorry for interrupting you.
No.
He's totally forgot what he was talking about again.
Yep. You got to have a
I
got to have a
I definitely want to make a point that to the community, like, if you love the Polaris, you have skins. You already have one. If you love,
not very good skins, and there's not
Asgard,
very many of them. There's a lot of skins on the Asgard too. Yeah,
but it already has a skin. It's gotten to the point in the contest where it's going to get a skin.
Yep, they've all done.
Yeah, and the Asgard is the same thing. So my challenge to the community is vote Gladiator just to make a point to CIG. Like, you've neglected a ship. If the 85X was in it, I'd say the same thing if it replaced the Gladiator. And I don't like that ship. I hate that ship, actually. I think it's really kind of trash.
I am a big fan of the Undergod Kegger, to be honest with you. And it'd be the same thing with the starter. I'd be trying to get a starter into the final every single time. Because, let's be honest, we look beyond ourselves. Everyone that comes after the game releases, they're going to come into this game with a starter ship. It'd be really nice to have a little skin there that they could earn or have or buy into, and I think that's just a really cool thing to pass on.
Does the Aurora still have the most skins? I mean, I know it used to a few years back.
I'd have to go back and have a look, but there is a lot. The reason would be the Aurora is a lot of those rare ones that they sold back in the beginning, like the Pax and the Jolly Roger and all that stuff. They had a lot of promised ones. So yeah.
Yep. The Southwest and the Take My Money and all of those skins that the Aurora had. I actually think one of the problems the Polaris has as a military ship, it's designed by committee. So it's not built by the it's not meeting the military's demands. It's meeting the military's demands, and then it's got input from the British Defence Force and other interested parties. So it ends up trying to do too much. So
hang on, I'm gonna have to interrupt you, Algared. So really quick, we're basically we're pretty much Polaris is winning by 1 vote on Twitch. So I'm just gonna kind of end it there. And I'm going to end it on YouTube as well. On YouTube, it's almost the other way, where it's 60% to 40%. So it is really interesting, because I would say putting the two kind of together are probably close to even, because there are a lot more votes on YouTube, but that's kind of be expected with how we do stuff. And it ended up a dead equal on Twitch. So maybe slightly in the favor of Asgard there, but again, you know, we're only looking at, like, what is that, 60, 80 people, so 82, 85 people. But yeah, that's a small taste. So it'd be interesting to see. I think, as Pete kind of said earlier, he says close as fuck. I think it is going to be very, very close. It's going to be really interesting. So sorry, Algared, please continue.
No, I just think looking at the problems that SA was pointing out that he had with the Polaris, I think part of it is intentional in that it's designed by committee. It's not just a straight military vessel in its lore. It's designed by model input from different people. So it's got a hangar because we need a hangar for our local defence force. It's got that.
I don't think it's the ship itself. I think it is, as other capital ships come online, I think it will drop in. Look, you got to remember, it's mainly a torpedo bomber. It's really expensive to replace those torpedoes. You don't really want to take this thing into combat. You want it to be that, like you want it to kind of sneak in it. Like, its line is the thrust of the spear.
It's a corvette.
The tip of the spear. So you want it to get in, attack something, and get out. You don't want it lingering around fighting. It's more espionage and a strike craft. And because of that, it's not going to fit every single scenario.
If you look at if you take it to World War II ships, it's the Flower class. It's a Flower class corvette. It was a workhorse ship. It could be built at every shipyard. That was its advantage. It was used for mine laying. It was used for torpedo run. It was used for, taking on subs, escort. It was used for everything. I think our Polaris is bigger than that, but it's that ship that's been built by committee, and I think that's going to be its downside compared to other ships.
Robert JT says Polaris is a money sink. All combat ships are a money sink.
Yeah.
They're just even bigger when they're, like the Idris is a money sink. Like that's how kind of combat's going to work. Like, you want that offense, you've got to pay for it by other means. And when they're bigger like that, they become all base ships. The Polaris and Idris will be no different.
I took an Idris on one of those missions, and if you take it on the recovery missions, you get no problem. But occasionally on those recovery missions, the enemy ships would ram you. And boy, when they rammed you, you took damage. You ended up, your air bill went through the roof.
Yep.
You were going to say something, SA?
No, he said he's gone AFK. He's going to the bathroom or something.
Questions?
Yeah, please. The one from Rabbit you wanted to read before. Go for it.
So Rabbit had a question from early chat, and he had an idea. The Flappy Bird could be the command mod. He asked whether it could be the command module with the docking rings set in the wings and the QT drive. That was his question.
It's actually a cool idea, because I actually brought that up as an idea. Obi-Wan Kenobi's ship in Star Wars, the one with the ring. I said, wouldn't that be a cool concept for a fighter that essentially is, when it doesn't have the ring on, it's a light fighter, but then you put it on and it becomes a heavy fighter, but it's also its warp drive. Yep. So it allowed it to have this multi-role nature. As a jump drive for them, that's kind of a cool. I don't think that's it, but I think it's a bloody cool idea. I do like that.
I was hearing him ask whether it was the command module for the cat, and
yes, and I don't think it's that based on the look of it. But I like the idea of it. I think it would be a cool idea to have another little attachment to the command module that you can buy that turns it into its own little ship.
Turns a snub ship into a Q drive.
If you could store that somewhere, think of the benefits there. If you just have it stored somewhere in the system, because the command module can jump, but it can't go. It's not meant to be able to go through portals and stuff. What do you call it? Through the jump gates. So if you had one just hidden in the nebula or somewhere on a planet that you could go get, attach to it, and then you could get out of there, that would be kind of cool.
That'd be nice for a snub ship. But I don't think it's the command module per se, even though the command module is in development, because they're actually looking at all the technical sides of what's needed, not a redesign of the module itself. So, with that aspect, but yeah, having that link would be good.
Yeah. See that what Pissball Pete said there is very similar to what I'm talking about. So he said the unequivocal best experience. Now you got to think Pete streams on Twitch. He's played the game a lot, right? I've ever had in Star Citizen was peering out of the Polaris's hangar, watching a battle happen in the skies above me. It was jaw-dropping. And they're the type of experiences I was having, like where there was just so much shit going on, it almost felt like chaos. I started to feel those scenes of episode 3 in Star Wars, the opening intro, that I wanted to feel in this game. So I now feel it's possible. You're not going to feel it all the time, obviously, but like I think those big fights that I was looking forward to are attainable now. And that I think that's, so it's probably not the Polaris that is responsible for that, but it's the first ship that gave me that, is what I'm trying to say. So
I liked seeing that when we took the Beatrice out and just sitting in third person and just seeing the battle go around. I like doing that. If I'm doing any of Reclaimer, going out and doing the same thing, seeing the PDCs fire and the other ships coming in. I like seeing all the ships do that. Seeing a ship that's fully crewed and all the guns firing, the combat around it just looks awesome. It is jaw-dropping. Pete's right. So yeah.
We need that light to heavy fighter. Are you talking about the ring ship, the idea, StarJump, Grim? Is that what you were talking about? Because that's what I talked about, unless you're on a different page. But that's one I remember, unless you've got another one. If you've got another one, Grim, jump in and tell us. You're more than welcome to join us if you wish to, as always.
Jockcrop
has
a question. The Starlance attack gets hit by the dropship military tax, but given how useful it will be, do you think the build will be more expensive?
Well, we've got SA here, and so it's not just me that gets thrown under the bus every time I bitch about the attack. SA, you're a military guy. Tell me why that's fucking useless.
Oh, tell us why you don't like it, or otherwise.
Oh, he hates it. Go ahead.
Yeah, we've already gone through this before. Actually, no, I don't hate it anymore. Reading the comments to the video that you and I did, X, I've grown to have a respect that the community likes it, and
they do.
I love the aesthetic. I think you and I agree that it's a pretty ship. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's just not very functional. That's my issue with it. It's not how it looks. It's a function problem.
But yeah, I mean, I'd back off that statement that I originally made where I was like, this is, completely non-functional.
I think that's any ship in general, though, isn't it? Like, if you like it, don't let other people tell you what to think of it. That's just me.
I think for me, I really wanted to like it because I love the aesthetics of the Freelancer, and I don't like the design 100%. I think the Freelancers, it was my first ship that I pledged for way back in the day. What was that, like 2012? Where I was like, this is going to be my daily driver. And I really wanted it to be the Connie at first. And then it became the Freelancer because I loved the really strange, pseudo-alien vibe of the outside of it. But I mean, the TAC, is it a great design? I will die on a hill, saying no, it's a horrible design. That being said, though, that the community wants it to be like a small org, little, my friends and I are going to go out and, cause some trouble.
Mini Polaris thing. The mini Polaris thing.
What is it that they say in Firefly? It's your ship that you go to aim to misbehave.
Oh yeah.
It feels like that. I mean, that ship feels that way. It's very not perfect. Does it get hit with a drop ship tax? I hope not, because it's not really a drop ship. It's a horrible drop ship. But I could go on about the TAC. I mean, you give me your 2 cents.
I've given it so many times. People hate it when I open my mouth about Algared.
Yep.
You give us your hate on it.
I just think it's not the ship that was designed. The ship that was first designed is the build, and everything else is just a tack on.
Well, I have to wait and see for that, obviously, with the build.
But it's a tack on to everything else.
It's tacky, not the tack. It's tacky.
Yeah. But I do like that it's got this. I do like it's got the snub bay. I do like, it's kind of like a Connie slash Carrick type style ship in terms of size of the snub. I do like it's got the other stuff, but it feels like it feels like all the variants were an afterthought to the build.
I agree. I think the build's going to cost more. I think the build's value compared to the TAC is night and day. Like the build is just such a valuable ship. I actually think the Pioneer, when it actually gets its rework done, is probably going to jump $400 or $500 in price. Because those construction ships are really the end game of the game.
Yeah, I could see the Pioneer going up in price and being a $1,000 plus ship. And several thoughts make me think that one, Ben's comment that he was blown away that so many people had it.
Yeah.
Talking to an org and asking an org and saying everyone had it.
Yeah.
It was like
he was kind of implying that the org needs one. Not everyone needs one. And so when you look at it in that regard, it kind of shows we do have too many ships. It probably means in the future, as more people come into the game, you'll probably see orgs either grow or break up because they put it this way. If me and Algared both have a Pioneer, is one of us going to get pissed that we never get to use our Pioneer? You see what I mean? Now times that by 10, and you've got 10 to 20 people that all have a Pioneer and they want to use it. You see what's going to happen, right? People are going to go, well, fuck you, and I'm going to go use my Pioneer elsewhere.
I see. Go ahead, Al.
Go on. No, go, SA.
I see the future of.
Wait, you see the future? Can I? Sorry, I need the tax lotto numbers, please. The Powerball. Oh,
go on.
Yeah, no. I see that CIG needs to develop a system where ships are actually owned by orgs and people can transfer them to the organization itself. But in addition to that, what I see happening in the future is you're going to have people that invested a ton in the game that want new people in the game, and they're going to melt those ships and turn them into the ships that the org needs. Because there's a reckoning coming within organizations where everyone's going to sit around their keyboards and have the conversation of like, well, we have these many ships, what are we going to do with them? And people have already invested the money. I mean, we've talked about this previously. People didn't invest the money to own things. They invested the money to live a dream.
Yeah.
To really to play the game they want to play.
Yeah. Well,
exactly.
It's really hard to kind of predict the future. I'm not to play on the own joke that you kind of just made, I made about what you said there, but it's either going to be one or two ways. Like you said, it's either going to be the melting off thing, or it's going to be growing of orgs or splitting of orgs or whatever. And let's be honest, people do change. How many orgs between the three of us, right? And I can put it to chat as well if you want. But how many orgs have we seen come and go? How many our own org Algared is split at one point?
Yep.
You know?
We've had splits in the org. And that's okay. We've always said,
essentially what happened.
Go if you don't.
We had the Americans all break away from the Australian segment, and within 12 months it died. It just broke off and withered. And the Australian ones just continued, and that was because they wanted more action. They wanted to do things, and we were just happy to sit there and do nothing while the game was being made. So we were patient, and they were impatient, and basically it killed it. So,
well, admittedly, they were wanting to do, the breaching of the star bases or this base, the bases, back in 2015 or 2016 or whatever it was.
Yeah, but remember there was that whole group that liked to do the military practice ops.
Yep.
And I came in and said, I'm just going to shit stir you boys. And I flattened them in 1 week. And they were just like, whoa. And I was because I just did things you weren't expecting. I wasn't following your rules. And by breaking your rules, the enemy's not going to follow your fucking rules. So why the fuck am I following your rules? And this was 1 versus 7 or something. And I just, I killed everyone except one guy that hid in a corner until I approached him to kill me. He basically camped to win. But they clearly lost because I killed 6 of them and there was 1 of me. They should have flattened me, but they didn't. And it was to prove a point that they were preparing for stuff that they weren't prepared for.
My question not question in terms of the fleets or the big ships going forward with the Pioneer is not necessarily that I never get to use it. I actually think orgs will you'll have, if you've got, you and I have a Pioneer. Mine's in Stanton, yours is in Pyro. We want to build a base in, and we want to build a base in both. We'll be using both.
I'm probably talking initially with the 5 systems, but 100 systems, absolutely agree with you. Yeah.
But even then, once we've built the bases, what's the Pioneer for? It's going to go back in storage.
Well, the base will die, and then we'll build it again.
So it'll you only pull it out once the base is broken, or you need to, because once you've got your tower, you can build everything. So,
but it also builds, ships and vehicles. Yeah, I see it being something you park on a pad and you just use it to build your fighters for your base,
I'd almost see it as a part of the city. Like you'd land it where you build the city and it starts building the city, but then you'd probably put other hangars online that also build ships and more vehicles. It's just the rollout at the start of the city.
Yep. It's what you need for the start of the city, and it's what you need to start your star base.
Yep.
And that's it. Once it's done that, you
start of the end game.
You park it away.
Yep.
And so you probably don't need multiple, but having them in different systems makes perfect sense.
I think also if you kind of look at it as in a role perspective, some ships are just going to be needed a lot more than others. But then when you really need that Pioneer, you're really going to need it.
Yeah. That's where having multiple in different systems will actually be a real.
But you're not going to see a Pioneer every day, but you might see a Kraken every second day. You might see a Polaris every day. You're going to see an Orion every day. You're going to see Reclaimers every day. But you're not. There's just going to be certain ships that and again, that thing is resource hungry. We were talking about the Idris and the Polaris being a money sink. Holy shit, that's got nothing on a Pioneer. That thing is going to be guzzling shit. Like, there's a reason why they added the underground mining to it, so it can at least keep itself alive.
Yeah, because it's going to be so much.
You're going to everything's going to be fed. You want a ship, you've got to feed all that shit to it to get it. And we haven't even got into the details really of ores, but then you're also going to have like organic matter, liquid solids and gases and all that stuff. We are at the freaking infancy of all that shit, and they needed to get that off the ground. And the initial base building is obviously going to go through mining and salvage, but what happens when all of a sudden, look at medical, right? Let's just take medical as an example. How do you make bandages, Algared? Do you make them out of metal or resalvage plastic? No, you made them out of fabric, and where's the fabric come? Well, that comes off the quasi-grazer or whatever animal they pick, right?
And what were two types of farming they talked about, and then what literally farms and herding.
What different qualities are there of the bandages? And then do you have aloe vera that what chemicals? You see where I'm going with this, right? And I'm making shit up as I go, right? But you get the point, right? Is we only have essentially half to a third of the materials that we need for this stuff. We don't have the gas, we don't have the liquids and solids shit really there. We don't have any animal side of this at all. So we have the ore based stuff, but we don't have the organic shit like trees, wood, or all that shit. We don't have any of that.
You're gonna see that type of stuff. Those loops that we see with mining, that's the same type of thing we're going to see with every profession, every type of resource.
I think farming is a lot more in depth than people realize. Like, a lot of people think it's just animals and some basic plants, but I'm sure there's going to be a thing for wood, growing massive trees and stuff like that. And then we haven't even got into alien vegetation yet, because most of the worlds we've seen up to this point are terraformed. What happens when you because we know there's moons, right, where you've got to put on you got to keep your helmet on. What happens when you're in an alien environment and it's not trees? Are they trees that grow massive gas clouds that you can collect? Again, I can think pretty sci-fi-ly, and I think a lot of us can be pretty imaginative. But think about all the, anytime they want to build a new alien animal or alien plant, they have it discovered by a science meet, and then all of a sudden everyone starts duplicating it out, and it helps cure a disease or it helps fix a problem. They can literally, any gap in the game can be fixed with a new discovery. It can rebalance the entire game with a discovery. It's quite interesting if you think about it.
It is. X, question for you.
Yes.
Ekasuni says, if they give the Starlancer Black a red paint job, will you start to love it?
I'm gonna be honest. You know how Paul has a Redeemer? If they were to piss me off, that is the ship that they would give me. Actually, it'd either be that or the Max. It'd be one of those two, right? I want to like it. I like the look of it on the outside. It's a function problem. But also, as I said, it's not something, just like Paul says, he wants the Redeemer to be better, and it is completely fixable. I agree with Paul that the Redeemer has issues and it's fixable, and it's the same thing for the TAC. I think they are completely fixable.
Okay. Cody Fox, do you think CIG will do an Apollo Nurser bundle? Would they be crazy not to?
If the Nurser goes inside it, yes. I don't think they will if it doesn't, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't now I've thought about it, because I've realized the kind of the Galaxy is probably what I was thinking of more than that. So yeah.
And I will say, chime in with these questions whenever you like. Don't just sit there.
No, I mean, if I disagree, yeah, I mean, you guys are covering it.
No, just chuck in and say your thoughts anyway, because it's the more the merrier.
You got to poke him with a stick to do anything. He just starts listening and he thinks he's not on the show anymore.
I know.
Yeah, he does it all the time.
It's like me when I'm gaming.
How do I time that guy out? I've got to time him out. He's giving me shit on Twitch. What's his name? Book 2005. 10-minute timeout. Where is he?
Just leave.
Fuck off. He's gone. No, 10 minutes. No, he said Zeus status. I'm not putting up with that shit. No. It's not the status. That's T. It's not a status. No, it just hits me that no end people call it that. I don't do a lot of punishments, but I'm going to be punishing people for that, because that really pisses me off, because it's clearly not a status. And I'm sorry. And I have a rage issue problem. And SA will
You do have a rage issue.
I have a massive rage problem.
When you... calm. Parker SGPS says, should we be concerned that Jared often alludes to big changes behind the curtain, especially considering we can't voice them?
No. I mean, so like a lot of people, I mean, we've talked about this before, all three of us. CIG doesn't turn on a dime. You know, it's not a ship that can turn quickly, and Jared is not the captain.
Yeah.
You know, Jared hears things that he's
the bellboy. He delivering the messages.
Yeah, you're kind of addicted to Jared, so that's, you know, a different subject. What? But I because he's Disco Lando, and I used to, you know, play SWG and like know the Disco Lander, you know, sub whatever the frick the ship was. Yeah, like I have a soft place for Jared in my heart. Jared is a showman. He is trying to bring CIG the entertainment portion of it to the community, and it's not an easy job. We're a whole bunch of assholes. And he's doing the best he can. And when he's talking about things of like big changes are coming, he's right. Big changes are coming. But like, is it going to revolutionize the game? No. It's going to be like the ship turns slowly. And a big change, I mean, you just kind of alluded to it. Like, you know, I'm not Evocati, thank God, but because I just don't have time to play. But like, you know, every single major patch like brings major things that would be considered major changes to the game.
Yeah.
You know, so you beat up on Jared, you're a dick. That's okay. You know,
hey, everyone can be better, and I'm just criticizing him. He's got to do better. And as I said, I don't think it's completely on Jared. I think they need someone that's more data driven to go along with Jared. As I've said to you, if you ever look at a comedy duo like C3PO and R2D2, he's the C3PO. He needs an R2D2. He needs someone that is really detail driven, because he's not detail driven, and it's really obvious to anyone that is data driven. He is not data driven. And you need both sides of that for both sides of the community. We obviously have the humor and stuff in Jared, if you like his form of humor, and then they need another side. I don't think Jared needs to be replaced. I think he needs to be added to. And again, this is coming from a couple that work together, right? And we are completely opposite people. And I know the benefits of having a co-host. Like, I wouldn't get rid of Algared for all the tea in China.
He loves me.
He drives me fucking nuts. But I know I know his value, and I think he would
drive me nuts as well.
But you know my value.
Yeah, you drive me.
That's what I mean. We've learned to appreciate the annoyances of each other because it actually has a value to us, even though we it annoys us. We see its value, and that's what we're trying to say. Like, I see Jared's value, but I also see the value that he doesn't have, and that's which is his weakness, and he needs someone else that can carry what he's not good at.
But
Nobody is perfect.
I can see that.
Yeah,
in
nobody's
context to
perfect.
in context to Parker's comment, when Jared alludes to big things changing, big changes coming, you just need to look at what they showed at CitizenCon last year in terms of where the game's going and where base building's going. And we've only got mineral mining at the moment, but we're going to have gas and stuff, and there's going to be farming, and that means farming on the ground plus hydroponic stations plus herding plus. As you said, those things in themselves are going to blow the game up. They're big changes. They're massive changes.
Well, the ones on the roadmap are big changes. I think that's probably
base building is going to.
Yeah.
So, no, it doesn't surprise that the big changes are coming. In fact, it just says they're coming sooner than we think. And Strike, if I heard CIG, if I heard any of the execs at CIG say big thing, it's big changes are coming at SitCon. I heard it a dozen times. I heard it from, well, pretty much everyone we spoke to basically said the same thing. So, yeah. And
I mean, the biggest change that's coming is going to be Squadron 42, because we'll see such a huge change in the player base. It's there will be people watching this that don't agree with either of you or me or anybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
That are going to see this new player base that they're going to come in and just completely change perspective of the game.
How many of those people are going to filter through? Because one of the things me and Algared often talk about is we are the veterans. We're the people at the end of the road. You've essentially got Board Gamer, Morph, and Space Tomato like onboarding people, right? So that they're dealing with like a lot of the normies. We're the more hardcore group at the other end. We're the people that are really invested in stuff. How many of those people are going to transition over into the hardcore crowd? That's another part of how, because they're those hardcore people that keep the game alive, that'll be there year after year after year. They're not just going to come in. Like, give an example, my housemate, right? He goes through games like he goes through Underpants. He will play a game like an MMO. He'll play it for 2 weeks and never touch it again. He goes to Steam sales. He buys every game under the sun and just chews through them like that.
How many people are going to be like your flatmate? Play this for a couple of weeks and then stop.
Exactly. They're just going to move
not
on.
Even know that. Not even know that Star Citizen is a thing. They're going to play Squadron 42 and.
Yep.
So
how many of those people transition across, and then how many of those become hardcore? Like you get what I'm trying to say here, right? There's a lot of interesting things there.
I have a feeling that Squadron 42 is also going to let us see exactly how bad the Vandal really are. Like, we always say the Vandal are bad, but you've still got those pockets in a community and within the UEE who think, the Vandal, we could be friends with the Vandal,
And Grumpy,
I hope.
And Grumpy would be lucky if he does it that often. Sangroper goes, executes flatmate, only changes the underpants once every 2 weeks.
Not wrong.
Anyway.
If you ever meet Mark, my housemate's called Mark. He's the biggest. He's from South Africa. He's a white South African. He's got some really cool stories to tell from when he was a kid. But he got it really young, like Algared did, and he's just like a big freaking teddy bear. I'm being attacked.
That's the worm. I just saw the Valakar cross the screen.
Yeah, I have to actually go feed my cats. I'll be right back.
Good reminder.
Ash has a question. Okay, be back soon. Hope.
Is it
Ash has a question.
Okay.
With bed respawning in game, why even bother with the Medship? Once you spawn, you are out in seconds. There is no need for multiple beds. Just one bed inside a ship works.
Because respawning is only a part of the mechanics. We don't have the actual medical fixing people shit yet.
Yep.
That's the other part that's coming later.
And the respawning, like the medical aspect of it, is the fact that at the moment, you will respawn. If you die, you'll respawn at the hospital or where your imprint is.
Yep.
So if you don't have a med bed, you're going to be a million miles away.
A complete unknown would be cyborg limbs that they've talked about. Do you need a tier 1 bed to be able to put cyborg limbs on people? We know they've talked about medical conditions like diseases and viruses and stuff. Do you need a certain bed to do one of those? Like there's just so many questions that we don't know about medical, and I think that's when we're getting some of the possibly getting some allusions to those answers in the Q&A that he kind of talked about when medical comes with
Yep,
the Apollo
and-
next month.
And one of the things that they've talked about is, yes, you die, you come back, but you've had a traumatic injury on your arm, and it's so traumatic that you respawn with either no arm or it's still mangled, so you do have to get prosthetic or
Look, they put
a
emoji over
digital
you.
part. Who's going to do that? So
That's
or
you.
where are you going to get that done? So both beds count. They are important. So yeah, 100% agree with what you just said, X.
In Twitch there where Spike sent all those emojis. This is Jax, by the way. That's who the emojis burst off. If anyone gave a shit, but they probably don't. But that's who is.
Yep. Citizen Ninja. Now that it's coming with 6 modules and estimated 50% size increase, what price do you expect the Apollo to release at? Currently $250, Triage 275.
So 10% would be 25, 20% would be 50. Usually ships go up 50%, but we have seen a few instances now, specifically in the Polaris of 30%, but that is combat. So I'm going to say $50 for each of them. So that would be $300 for the Triage and $350. No, it'll be $325 for the Medvac.
Now that scares me because that is a ship that's smaller than a Connie. Is more expensive than a Connie.
But it's now bigger as a Connie.
Slightly more.
It's 66. It's 66 meters, and the Connie is 61.
Okay.
If I could get into Hanglink, I'd confirm that, but I can't.
Yeah, my memory is the Connie was about 70, but
open Hanglink for me on your computer and have a look.
I haven't looked at Hanglink for so long, so
I can't.
Pages.
Well, Ash, I can. Yep. I can do it, but I can only do it in Chrome. Hang on.
I can take a look.
Which means I can't bring it up for people to see, which is the problem. Hanglink. Here we go. So Connie is 61, as I said, and the new Apollo is, as I said, like here it's only 43, which was the old measurement, which was 2 minutes.
But it's got a 50% increase, which gives it about 60.
No, not 50%. It's about a third. The way they worked it out is in that image that I had up earlier. So, excuse me, Jaximus, is this image here, because it's in a large pad, they're able to put a stick next to it.
Yep.
And essentially take that stick and the measurements and then scale the pole up to be the same size as the stick and then measure it, and it was 66 meters long.
Yep. Given it's larger than a Connie or as large as a Connie, it's basically a Connie variant. So, I could see it, and given it's a medical specialist ship, okay. But it is scary that it, as you said earlier, it's not a cheap ship. It's always been an expensive ship. So I suppose seeing the size increase probably helps with that, but yeah.
So Citizen Ninja's saying that they'd probably go to 330 because they wouldn't want to take a $5 CCU, but we've also seen them do that before to deliberately encourage CCUs. So I have to wait and see.
Yep.
I'm just going by
$5.
Yeah, I'm just going by their own ballparks and own math. And I probably, there's that guy that did the thing, Algared, with all the AI stuff. Maybe we go look at what he thinks that it's going to be, but he's generally spot on with that stuff because he made this algorithm thing that basically looks at all the previous prices of ships, and it can, and the AI basically uses those costs. I wonder if we could do that. Just experiment. The complete off. I'm just gonna go to Grok. We can do Gemini as well if you want, but like, based on the prices of Star Citizen concept release prices to concept prices to release prices of their ships, what would the cost of the we'll go Triage, Apollo. Oh, no, it's Apollo Triage, isn't it? Apollo Triage possibly be question mark. Right, just see if it can pump this out. Let's just park it. Yep. 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 Wow, it's actually doing a lot of thinking.
Rolling through the web looking for the answer.
The Apollo Choose at concept price was $227 and is currently $250. Prices of the Star System through the stages of constant hang already. That's actually doing a lot of thinking. Wow. This is actually kind of interesting to watch. Just watching the computer things. I've never kind of had it take so long. Normally it just spits shit out straight away for me.
And one of the things that probably won't pick up is the fact that in concept, it looks like it's growing in size as well.
Yep.
So, well, while it's doing that,
yep.
Sandgroper had a question. So after all the Apollo discussion about the Apollo, if you can own only one, which of the two would be the better choice?
Medivac. Hands down, Medivac.
I'd go the more expensive one.
It's the Medivac.
Which is
I mean, it would be what you want to do. I mean, if you're talking about,
I don't think there's enough of differentiation between them at all.
I mean, but if you're never going to be in a combat area and you're just running or you're going to be in stand and running medical, it doesn't matter. So what's going to
again?
We don't know the in-game. Yeah. We don't know the in-game price. I mean, is it a thing where you can earn the triage easily, or do you need to earn reputation for the Medivac? Maybe it's military or UEE reputation.
Yep. I'd still.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree.
If I could only own one, I'd go the harder one to earn, or more expensive. So, but that's just me.
I've never seen this take so long. It's like I've asked it the ultimate question to which it doesn't know the answer.
The answer's 42 then.
Yeah, I heard it's great. It's just sitting going, oh, shit.
The answer's 42.
No, the answer is CIG has no idea how they price things, and this thing is searching for it.
Yep.
It's like, none of this makes sense. And there's a server somewhere just in flames in some server farm.
Yep. DET has a question. Do you know if the Apollo modules will appear or will always be given with a ship, or is CIG giving them to people who already own the ship?
Hang on. It's actually come back with an answer.
Well, it's still writing the answer. We're still writing the answer.
The Apollo Triage was introduced during the concept sale in 2018. So the community speculation is aligned with the 25 to 300 price range and examples. It usually gives an answer right at the end, but it shows you all the evidence.
Yeah, and it's still going through the collection of that evidence at the moment, or presenting of that evidence at the moment.
Very thorough. Yeah, so it's saying $5 to $30 or 7 to 15%. Similar ships. Yeah, so it hasn't actually given us the price. It's basically just giving us a lot of examples. So yeah, pretty much what we said anyway. All right, yeah, so that was the no answer. Sorry. There you go. Continue. Sorry.
So Deet's question was, do we know if the Apollo modules are always going to be given or whether they are only given because of what's going on? And my understanding from the episode where we were talking about that was they will always be given.
Yep.
So that's a fairly easy one. So the modules will always, all those modules, all those variants will always be given. It's not, in a sense, I see the modules being a cheat as to, you take out the bed and put 2 beds in. It's kind of, but it just makes it easier to just swap out the modules rather than physically move the beds.
Yeah, that answered heaps quicker, and it basically just said it's the triage will be somewhere between $300 to $400. Some sources even suggest it could go high as $350 due to its increase in size. But that was an instant answer compared to Grok. That was crazy.
Yeah, it just, and it picked up answers from some sources, i.e. Inforunners.
Yeah.
Ekasuni says has a question. Doesn't it make a lot more sense for the Apollo to carry a NERSA since CIG punted on the drones for it knowing
I think
for how long and how will it severely injured people get to the Apollo?
I think we have to wait to see that kind of updated medical design brief. I think it'll kind of show their thought structure there, whether drones are still required or not.
Yeah.
I think there's been a fundamental change in how medical gameplay is going to work.
I got the impression when I was watching the video that from John's comments that things like the tractor beams we've got have changed the need for the drone. But again, we'll wait for the Q&A to get those answers.
Yep.
Lee 82 says, is that top round part on the top an airlock door like the Cuddy Red? That was your question. I actually think it's a sensor dome, and I think you guys
Agreed, sensor.
Right. You could be right. It's some kind of radar dish looking thing. Let's wait and see.
But we'll have to wait and see. The Rusty Pigeon Gaming channel says, where do the nurses and doctors sleep in the Apollo? That's not the nurse, but nurses, the medical staff.
Yeah. We've all watched medical dramas on TV. No one ever sleeps.
Yeah, they're always up. Oh,
what's that thing here? So if I go back to this one, I'd assume it'd be here because this seems bed escape pod.
Yep. So that's your crew quarters because it's a 2-man crew.
Yep.
So they're in the crew quarter area.
I think the other reason they probably gave pilot guns, by the way, is because if the pilot is flying and there's a medical emergency, the co-pilot has to leave the guns. That's probably why the pilot got guns.
Yeah. Okay, I don't mind the pilot having guns.
Yeah, maybe.
But
for in a pinch, like if you've got to turn and get them off you're gonna have to have guns. Even though you probably shouldn't be turning towards the enemy and trying to take them on. Maybe it's the only way you can get out. Like maybe it's a QED ship or something like that, and you're snared.
Well, I mean, my pushback on that is like, have you ever seen an ambulance turn around to deal with anybody with a gun or any trauma or a medevac? No, I mean they just keep going.
But I would counter that with, how many ambulances have you seen in space?
Yeah,
I would just argue.
That's a straw man argument.
I just think it needs that.
But my point is, if you're in a hostile environment and you put it into a new environment, it changes how the thing can operate. And again, like a nurser will never operate the same. Oh, how do I put this? Like a flying helicopter does not operate the same as a land ambulance. They have different ways they operate, and different ways they go about rescuing people and stuff like that.
It just needs greater shielding for its electronics things, so it's nav
and a turret
mode works and does better stuff, so it can shrug off a snare.
What'd you say about the turret? It does have a turret.
No. Give it like a real turret. Like take the guns off the front and put them on a turret for the co-pilot.
Oh, so bigger guns on the turret and less on the pilot. Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Exactly. Pilot shouldn't have guns. Pilot should just fly.
But that raised that question. I suppose if there's a medical emergency, then you've got to make a choice. Do I deal with a medical emergency or do I deal with the issue that's going to save us?
Here's the fix. You just make it so that the turret is slave to the pilot when it's not being operated by the co-pilot. Well, and then you could have just had the size 4 guns and just that was on the turret. You're done.
So the golden rule in combat is what you do when you're under fire. It's care under fire, right? So there's a whole bunch of doctrine I could go into, but I won't. The summary of it is you suppress the enemy, then you treat. So it'd be the same thing with the co-pilot. You deal with the enemy attacking you, and then you treat the patients in the ship.
I was just going Dr. ABCD. Danger, that's the first thing you do when you're doing, first aid. You check for danger. Danger to yourself, danger to others, danger to the patient. I.e., if a patient's sitting in among fallen power lines, there's danger to you. Sorry, can't help you.
Does the patient have a knife in their hand?
Yeah. So danger first, then you check the response of the patient, then you do check their airways, then you do breathing, then you do CPR, and then defibrillate if you need, So
all right.
That's just standard first aid.
Before we go on to the next question, SA, you were talking about medical Spartan. What do you think the chances of this being a medical Spartan?
Very low based off of the design of the Spartan. The Spartan should be a through vehicle where there aren't 2 separate sections, and this won't have that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that this is a trailer of some kind because if you follow the lights, you kind of have 2 lights up here and 2 lights down here. I think that kind of shows a height elevation difference. So I think this is a trailer on the description.
Okay.
Thank you
And
for the
9999999 for a 50 NOK donation. Funding for shooting an ambulance into space. Sounds very Galactic Gears. So, thank you for that.
That would be ambitious, by
it's
the way.
from Norway. It's Krones, Norwegian Krones. It's from Norway.
Norwegian Kroners.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would love to see a Corsair just like empty out a NERSA into space to bring in patients.
I just remember the what is it? Not Galactic Gears. The
you mean the real one? Like Top
the
Gear,
real one.
Top Gear.
Where they launched Top Gear, where they tried to launch a Reliant Robin into space.
Pissball Pete's right. I agree with him. This has a trailer, too many wheels and shadows, and if you can kind of count the other Spartans, they have 8 wheels. If you kind of count through there is definitely more than 8. So I think this is a trailered. This is probably most likely the one we saw that had the build thing on it. I think this is somewhere between the little capsule that goes on the back of ships and I guess the build. So this is somewhere between the two. Yeah.
But if that is true, it's a different frame. Like it's a different front of the Spartan. It's a shorter Spartan.
No, I think it's a full-size Spartan with a trailer on the end. And I can pull up concept images of this from
Look
years
where the
ago.
gun is, though. That's a Spartan missing part of the back end of it with a trailer on it.
What I mean. So you reckon it's a shorter Spartan? Is what you're trying to say?
The front of it is shorter, so it's not a full Spartan. Like it's missing one set of wheels, so it's been shortened, but it has a trailer on it. I think the Spartan has 8 wheels. That has 6.
I remember there being 8 on all of them.
Yeah, what I'm saying is the trailer has 4 wheels on it, and the front compartment's been shortened
See this?
allow for the trailer.
I don't have there is a color picture of this coming out of a Hercules, but I don't see the photo here. No, I can't see it, but this is the best I can give you, right? So this is the Reddit one, right? And that was from the panel, the same panel that set off the thing, because Todd Pappy did this panel, and that's the one where he talked about the Galaxy having the manufacturing model, the exact same one. And so you can see there it's a Spartan, but yeah, they've essentially taken the Centurion turret off, or the ballistic.
No, I don't disagree at all. I think you're dead on. I just think that the front part of the Spartan, the actual original Spartan, which is one vehicle, has been shortened.
So you reckon it's a? Yeah, that's what I asked. I said, is it a modified or a short? Yeah, okay. I think we're saying the same thing. We're just saying different things.
We are.
I'm not sure because I can't tell because of the silhouette, but yeah, you could be very well right. Because I would hope it would be shortened. Because one of the critiques we had of this was it was almost like it was 2 vehicles long. So the only thing that could carry this was a Hercules.
This really reminds me of the TV show The Mandalorian, where they're on the Imperial Rhydonium planet thing.
Yep.
Where he puts on the Imperial armor. Like that's what that looks like.
You do find the irony of that the Asgard was built to carry a large vehicle. The Asgard then wins the vote for Ship Showdown. Then they release this that the Asgard can't carry. I think that's funny as shit.
That will be energy.
And again, count the wheels.
A C2 and M2 can.
You see how the normal Asgard has 8 wheels. Atlas has 8 wheels, and then you've got 3 additionals. That's why I think there's so many wheels in this photo. But we'll have to wait and see.
No, I agree. It's a good read. Yeah.
Question.
Yes.
From Hook. The Apollo or a Zeus? Which is better? The answer is Apollo, in my opinion.
Zeus.
You're welcome to opinion, but I think you're wrong.
I think it is dependent on what you're doing. Because if you went, oh, I want to do cargo, then the Apollo doesn't have a chance. If you want to do science, neither of them have a chance, so to speak. You know what I mean? Or mining, neither of them have a point. So it's different ships for different roles. And you're also
USA.
Hang on. You're also talking about ships that are literally $100 difference in price.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'll put it in context of the actual question: Apollo or Zeus status.
How do I time out Algared? I need a timeout for Algared.
Well, that is the actual question. I just modified the question to avoid the frustration for you, but you know, but yes, it does depend on the roles. But in this case, it's just the Apollo.
A more fair question would be like, what's your favorite, a Spirit or a Zeus? You know, that they are comparable. Yeah. I don't think you can fairly, because I'm going to be honest, you'd be more likely to go, what do you prefer, a Connie or an Apollo? That's in the same ballpark type of thing, you know, or medical to medical. So can I go Apollo to Galaxy?
Mm-hmm.
Apollo Cutlass Red, Apollo Pisces. There I can start to compare, but they have pros and cons. The size plus what the function is. Like there is no perfect ship. We've said this before, and I know SA is the one that really set this up with me. Was when we talked a lot about the dropships SA. And I remember you going through, and you could clearly look at every single dropship.
Yeah, because you used to say this dropship's useless, and this dropship's useless, and it was not. This one's good for this role. They all have like this
really little tiny niche each, and you know, it's made me see other things lately. Like so you know how when we kind of looked at the golem, right? I'm realizing now it's not the first profession starter. You've got things like the C8R. That's a profession. You know, it's a lower end medical. So I just think there's some things I've missed along the way when it comes to those profession starters. So yeah, not infallible.
Yep. Project Gnome has a question. What level medical bed do you think they'll put on the Kraken?
2.
1. I think 1. I think it's going to be at least like 1, and maybe a 2 or 2.
So the same as the Aegis. I guess that could make sense. Yes. Okay. I'll give you the 1. Good.
Yeah.
It's on the 890 jump too, isn't it? Is there a 1 or a 2?
I think it's a 2 on the. I think at one point they were only doing 2s on most ships. I think the 890 jump does have what looks like a 1 though.
Yeah. I think
I'd be shocked if the 890 doesn't get a 1. I mean, like it's a luxury vessel.
Yeah, but I can see why they don't either. They really want to limit that. And that's the same thing where I go 2 on the Kraken, because the Kraken is not technically meant to be combat. I think I can see the need for a 1 on a combat vessel because you're literally putting yourself in harm's way.
The original idea I thought was that the only ship that was originally where they only wanted those top tier beds was in hospitals. So the actual hospitals themselves or the Endeavour. And everything else was getting 2s or 3s.
The other thing is
that's fair. Okay.
The other thing, like if I look at the 890 jump, it's that same thing you were saying about the medical ships, that they are over, you know, glorified safe rooms. They just want to get out of there, right? So again, to feed that get out of their nature, if someone has a tier 1 injury, they want to get out of there and actually get them to medical care. So get out of there is part of their mantra, so to speak. So I can see them only having a tier 2.
Now, are what we're considering tier 1 beds actually tier 1 beds, or are they actually tier 2?
Yeah, exactly. Fair point.
Like, I don't know if they've changed their thinking, but originally I can remember them saying, and I could be remembering wrong, but my memory is that the only places you would see tier 1 beds were the actual planetary hospitals and ships like the Endeavour, and everything else would be the next tier down. So.
To answer Waffle on Insanity, yes, that is another starter. And I think there's a few of them that I've just missed along the way or forgot. The Herald's a weird one, though, because it sits in that... It's in a like $10 more, and I put it into the medium ship category, you know what I mean? So it's kind of an expensive advanced starter. And I'll put it back to you, being a Drake ship, why would the Herald be $90 when the Golem is $60?
No.
You know what I mean?
Well, I think
you start to do that, and you start to look at that, and there's not $30 extra value on that ship. I could probably give you 10, but I can't give you 30.
And you look at the cutter sensor, the one with the sensor dish for whatever they
The
call
Scout.
it. The Scout. And it's basically your Inforunner initial entry-level ships. So I guess so, yeah.
Well, in Inforunning, they've already said that Inforunning can be done by server racks that are loaded as cargo.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, we're talking about collection versus just running information.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're collecting it. That's the big difference between. That's what those little radar dishes and that on them are for. They're for the collecting part. Yeah.
Michael Drop Bear Johnson has a question. Why have guns on a Medivac? Why not PDCs?
Yes.
I agree.
You are correct, sir.
That the whole thing I was raising before, why, you don't, if you're a Medivac and you're not trying to face combat, you put PDCs on so it can get away.
So the weapons that should be defensive, not offensive. So I think the turret should be, like, I kind of agree with that. So I was saying the turret should be kind of at the back, or the missiles should be on those little turrets like that are on attack or something like that. They should be all back facing.
Yeah, everything should be defense. Yeah,
getting away. Yeah,
and we see that thinking on ships already. We see it in the 400i. It's got the refacing turret for when you're running away, so you can.
Again, there's nothing to stop you having a turret that defaultly faces backwards, like what Hercules has got one, right? But you can turn the whole turret around and it faces to the front. It's just that it's predominantly designed for defense, so it should face in that direction predominantly. And again, if you go back and look at this, should I hit the wrong button? What an idiot.
It should be like the Gladiator concept we talked about, where the turret moves back a little bit, covers the rear, and that co-pilot is managing multiple things. They're managing better shields. Like things that basically are all defensive.
But look how forward facing that turret is. It's not even at the midpoint. It should probably be back where that sensor dish is thing at the back.
Exactly.
But I understand why it's in that position, because its current back would be put it at the back of the crew quarter area.
Well, but I mean, if it's remote turret, it doesn't matter. And when we look at the size 4 should be on the turret. It should be where the sensor dish is, and maybe put the size 2s in the front.
So I just looked at the concept one on Hanger Link. The turret does have enough clearance to shoot backwards. I just want to point that out. But I'm assuming that that's copied from the old concept to the new. Again, there's been modifications, but I'd have to assume that that's the case. But yeah, from what I can see here, the gun turret should be able to shoot backwards.
The turrets in the front shouldn't be for combat. They should be for like clearing asteroids or debris, that kind of thing. And yeah, you need the 2 size 4, not even size 4s, maybe like a quad 3,
can you restart the bot, please? I think it might have died around 9:30.
It has died. Yep. It's not good. Okay.
Because I was just looking at the questions and going, wow, we're almost empty, but I've seen other questions come through, so
might die again. We'll see.
It might die again.
But it's up for now.
That'll search through other questions that did come. Yep,
they're coming. They're coming. Only a few. Again, what I probably where my brain goes is if you'd added a second turret on the bottom, but they were controlled by the same person, that would allow them to shoot back and forward as well. But again, we'll probably never fully know the extent to why they make the decisions that they make. But I think they've got to be again, there's just gameplay that we can't see. That's a little hidden from our eyes.
While going against the PDC idea, if you put PDCs on the ship, then you remove the need for the players to make choices because the PDCs will do the job. If you've got your turret, then as Esso pointed out earlier on, the pilot needs to make those decisions. Do I do this or do I do this? So yeah, choices matter.
Well, in this ship, and I know it's already designed, but like if you imagine that you have a pilot and a co-pilot seat right next to each other, 2 people sitting next to each other, and the co-pilot has to make a decision of like, do I shoot the turret? Do I take over controls for the ship and fly it? Do I manage the shields? Do I do engineering? Take them out of the medical equation, because in a real world situation, the pilot and co-pilot would not be doing anything medical. There'd be a nurse in the back, or exactly.
Wait, is that true? I might have forgotten something. So Pissball Pete said, question, I'm going to drop it to the front of the queue because it's relevant to what we're talking about. Do you think STAR-JM will relax the minigame restrictions on buying the Apollo variant, considering it's probably not active anymore and no new players could buy the one? Wait, so that explains why the two variants are so similar. I forgot. I totally forgot about that. If that's the thing. There was a minigame, wasn't there?
There was a minigame.
So you could only get the Medivac if you. Oh, that explains why they're so similar.
If you completed the minigame.
They're just going to make it more expensive and sell it. I mean, I
can't see why not.
People that do the minigame get it for that price, and other people get it for $50 more.
Yeah.
They removed the restriction years ago, currently to just right, by the way.
Yeah.
Pete.
But certainly when it was first out, there was that minigame. So, yeah. Mike G, MD, says, I recently saw on another YouTuber claim that rep will persist when 1.0 goes live to lessen the crowding at the early areas for things like hauling. Seems very unlikely to me. What are your thoughts?
We've talked about a wipe before launch.
Yep.
Since the beginning.
They've always talked about a wipe before launch.
Why would you want to give everyone a leg up? You want everyone to start on the same playing field.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see it.
I think when we go...
And I'm going to be... I think the other way I put this is go to the other YouTuber and say, show me your evidence. Because I don't think he'll find any.
Yep.
Rather than coming us to get us to give you evidence, he's the one that's got to prove it because there's never been anything that's talked about it. It's always been there'll be a wipe at release. So if he wants to show something different, show us the release and I'll definitely look at it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. Like, there's never been anything where they've said there's not going to be a wipe at launch.
If you make an outlandish claim, the evidence, it's on you to put the burden of evidence forward.
If anything, they've actually made the claim we will wipe as many times as we need to. In the lead up to it.
Yep.
So,
what the prisoner says, that would piss off a lot of new people. Yep, absolutely agree.
Yep.
And again, they've never said that words to that effect. I've never seen that.
Why get in game when why start this game if I'm starting buying the outboard?
Thanks, J-Pop, for the basic membership on YouTube.
Awesome.
Appreciate it. I think he's been a member before. I think he's remembering.
Remembering. He's remembering he's a member.
He's remembershipping. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, if he is, great. If he's not, great. But welcome. Ash.
I think we might have done this one. Is this the one about the torp swapping on the Gladiator?
They are, yes.
We've done that one. We did that earlier. Yep.
And a quick, Anna Quiwan says, might ask, as a question, do you think the Gladiator will get a Mark II?
So my response to this is based on a couple of things. John Crew literally said that the Mark IIs in Squadron were based on a very big change of their look, right? I also think what it'll come out in time is that they are both in Squadron. You get a Mark I at one point, and then if you think about it, how you're playing through a game, it's more interesting if they offer you an upgraded ship that you already have, plus something else. So say they gave you, do you want, I have to think of two ships that are kind of, do you want a Sabre? Or do you want the Mark II of the Hornet that you already have? And then there's pros and cons there. It's like, well, I can get a whole new ship, or I get to use an upgraded one that I already know. Ooh, see the player choice there?
Yeah. Do I take the ship I know, or do I have to learn a brand new ship?
Or do I take an upgraded ship of the one I know and stay with that comfortability? But this new one, this could be even better. So
this new one's got bigger weapons, but what are the downsides going to be?
So I think that's what'll come out when Squadron comes out. I think you'll find that they're both in there. As for the Gladiator, we kind of know. Well, it looks like they kind of removed it a bit to put the Retaliator in. And again, I don't think it needs any drastic fixes. We've all kind of talked about that today, not needing. It just needs some fixing up and some love.
It needs some love.
And I think I don't see a need for Mark II. And it is that older design from Jace as well, like the Hurricane. And there's not many of those.
Yeah. But to get that love for it, if everyone votes for it and makes it win and shows how popular it is, or how loved it is, then STAR-JM will hopefully
I think the
Shot
best you
them
can hope for is a variant. I'll leave it at that. The bomb variant, but I'd rather it kind of be
I'd
modular.
rather it have.
Yeah.
Well, I'd like to take John's recent comments about Retaliator, and if he was giving it bombs, he'd change the racks and do that for the Gladiator.
Well, making it modular would give it more love. Making it a variant just splits the community that like it, doesn't it? So.
Yep. You know, so I'd like to see it get love. But anyway,
Shoddy HR, thank you for the subscription on Prime on Twitch. Yep, sorry, go ahead, Algared.
Awesome, thank you. Rabbit has a question. Shipjacker faction question. If you look at Squadron 42, I held the line video. So if you look at the Squadron 42, I held the line video at 1250. We will see a Cutlass with new types of engines at the front.
That's one of the
removed.
That's one of the jalopy ships.
Isn't it?
Yeah, so there's an Aurora that's like that. There's a Mustang that's like that. The Cutlass is like that. So if you think about pirate people, they don't have access to, like, they can't just walk into Stanton and buy a brand new ship. So they've got to make do with what they got. So they jerry rig things. Engine off ship A, cockpit off ship B, some guns off this, and they just mash it all together and make it work. So they make their own ships essentially.
So do we think we'll see them in the PU? No. We might see them in the PU, but we won't be able to use them. There'll be pirate ships that fall apart.
Well, I mean,
what was the time again, Algared?
Eventually, maybe
1250.
You go ahead, SA.
No, I mean, that was my point. I just think eventually, I think the goal is to let us have those type of ships. But is it a priority? No.
I wouldn't be surprised to see them in game, but there won't be ships we can target. They'll be so fragile they'll blow up. They'll fall apart.
Yeah. It's just a Cutlass with different engines, basically. Yeah. And you'll find it's got a different front as well from memory. And he goes around the front. So yeah. So it's just it's a jalopy Cutlass.
Yeah. Maybe when we're printing stuff and building our own.
No.
You find the blueprint for it.
Maybe years down the line.
Yeah. Yeah. But I'm not talking near future. But maybe down the line, you know, if the interior and the player parts that we're using are the same, blueprint for it, you could print it. But
again, I go back to the whole thing of the work to do this or the work to make new ships. I'd rather new ships than jalopies. So I'll never say never, but I'll say highly unlikely.
Well, my thought would also be, which ship do you think would be better? The actual Cutlass or a jury-rigged Cutlass with different engines and other stuff? And my thought says the Cutlass. So, yeah.
They clearly don't have the option to build their own ships in
wherever that is. Wookstro 2377 says, do you think CIG paid any attention to how people are over the Corsair? And then I hope they're paying attention.
I think it's because they nerfed it a bit. Like, there was a lot of people using it. 92% of all kills in game. That's a lot of kills. Which clearly means there was a balance issue, so it's probably won't need to be nerfed. And yeah. Well, I don't think it was
back to wherever I wanted it to be.
I don't think it was a falling out of love. I just think it was overpowered.
Yep.
SA, did you want to add to that, or are you going to sleep?
No, I agree. It was definitely overpowered, and you know, like you said, I think the thing that's hard for anyone that plays the game to really, you know, hold on to is that, you know, we're in a balancing phase, and we're going to be in a balancing phase for years. So, you know, just enjoy the ship you have while you have it, and when it changes, if you love the ship, keep it. If you don't, get something else.
Yeah, I always think of you look at any MMO you've ever played. Whenever the patch out, everyone always complain. You know, you always hear it in the chat. They've nerfed this class. They've done this. They've ruined the class. It's no longer. It happens in every MMO, every game, every patch. It's going to be no different in Star Citizen. As the game goes on, they'll keep balancing and tweaking to get the ships and the classes or whatever, you know. basically, if you're looking at what classes, you're looking at the ships in Star Citizen, they're going to be balanced to sit where they want them to be.
Yeah, but
And I need it.
Voodoo's complaining in YouTube chat the Idris is not OP. No, well the nerf for the Idris is coming. It's called the Perseus. So
And the Javelin and the
well again specifically the Perseus because it's coming first, but like that is going to be tailored at the Polaris and the Idris, and it will mix up the meta, and every ship that comes in is going to mix up that meta and add to it and change it and all that. And I think, as you said, like once they're all in, I'm thinking of World of Warcraft as an example. You know, one patch the rogue's really good, the next patch the rogue's at the bottom, and then it kind of cycles through. And you know,
I've seen the pendulum swings, and they keep.
I've seen entire expansions where one class is just slightly above everything else, and they nerf it too hard, and so the next expansion is completely under everything else. It's very
and then they do it again, and they just keep doing it until they get it just.
Well, when it came to Blizzard, I wish they balanced more frequently. As long as they balance frequently, like you don't want to have a ship that just falls out of favor for 2 years, which is what often happened with Blizzard games. You know, it's just like, well, I played this, and it's like you want me to go back and play a whole nother class just because you changed some numbers. So I've got to go put in a month of work to level up another character. Like, you know, I had that happen to some of the classes I played, and it really turned me off playing anymore.
My pushback on like the Idris's OP is that the Idris is meant to be OP to smaller ships.
Yep.
Yeah. It's designed to do that. Like it's the only reason the Idris feels OP is because there's nothing larger than it to punch back.
Yep. The Polaris is the only thing we can kind of contend with at the moment. And again, once that Perseus comes in, they'll have another contender. So the more contenders that are there, the more less strong the Idris will feel.
And yes, I'll agree that the Idris is OP at present. Now, they're saying, you know, having pilot control guns is OP. Well, you know, I don't actually put the big guns on the Idris because don't need them.
I think he's talking about the rail gun now, Algared.
Yep, I know he's talking about the rail guns and the torpedoes. They're torpedoes. They're controlled by the pilot. Now,
but I mean,
it is OP in terms of the damage because at the moment the shields still only stop Panther 3s. Everything else goes through the shield.
That's just a bug.
Yeah, it's a bug, but at the moment, it doesn't matter. You don't feel it.
So, I mean, to me, the pushback on, you know, is the Idris OP, you know, you're looking at minimum crew for that and looking at minimum crew on a combination of Perseus and Polaris, you know, and like what you're doing for the number of players versus players, then you can talk about OP. If it took 4 players to fly an Idris and decimate an entire, you know, group of 24 players, that's OP. But when you're talking about like, you know, maybe 2 Perseuses and a Polaris that, you know, can manage that ship and take it out, no, it's not.
Yeah. Then you look at the, you know, when you're looking fully crewed, how they compete against each other.
Exactly.
How is the Idris gonna be in atmosphere? It's gonna be dog shit. It's gonna be totally horrible. So you've obviously can go into different areas. Like we haven't even got into that. Like what a certain nebulas are going to be. What a certain, you know, we've seen radiation, but what's a space hazard going to be like? What's it going to be like when you've got like a thunderstorm like thing that, you know, fighters can navigate around like it's nothing, or an asteroid field, and then they can't go in the asteroid because there's just no gaps. We haven't even got into that shit.
Yeah, and Idris is meant to be powerful. My original point, like it's meant to punch hard. That is the goal. And until the Javelin comes in for players, it's going to be the dominant. Yeah, it's going to be the dominant force in the verse. And when the Javelin comes in, people will say the Javelin's OP.
What I'm trying to highlight is there's just some things missing that will even more so balance the playing field, like places to hide. Armor's a big one. You know, stuff like that. So,
well, maneuverability. I think that where they're going to nerf the Idris, it's going to be maneuverability.
It's going to be slow.
We're going to see some of that towards the end of the year with the thunderstorms and I think they put snow in this patch, and we've seen the rain coming a bit. Like, you know, imagine trying to land an Idris in a thunderstorm. Yeah,
I've noticed in Hurston that the fire sprinklers are working inside, you know. So
what's that pyro one where you get hit by the strike and the ship just goes down? I went into Polaris and just get hit by a lightning strike, whole ship to the ground. Yeah. So you might have places that if you take the Idris into it ain't coming out. You know, so it'd be
Yep.
it's going to be really interesting. Like I think there's just a lot of things like when you start to either add those sci-fi elements in, it's going to take us to places we didn't expect, and there'll be little sweet little things where that little ship that just normally is average just becomes Mr. Resistance because it's made for that one little thing. Yeah.
I also have a feeling that those but one of the things that will help ships get through those thunderstorms is the fuses. And so the more fuses the ship has, the more relay stations it has, the better it's able to cope with those issues. And I think the Idris has. I added eight extra to the fuse banks on one of the Idrises.
Mm.
That's a lot of Idris. That's a lot of fuses on the Idris.
Were you confused? Sorry,
no, I wasn't.
See myself out.
Idris fused.
It refused.
Yeah, I wasn't confused.
Refused.
So, yeah. Rabbit has a question. Ship Showdown question.
Mm-hmm.
When do we need to have those ships in our hangar to ensure we get a paint?
End of AIE is generally when I think they send them out at the start and the end of AIE.
IAE. Oh my God, you always say AIE.
Yeah,
shit, did I do it again? My bad, sorry.
Yeah.
You do it every single time.
You can also pick up a CCU to that ship and it'll retain the skin forever. I have a very valuable CCU from a Gladiator to a Cutlass, and it's for the blue, white, gold one. It cost me like $5. They're currently selling for like $250 because it's the only way to get the skin, unless someone gives you the entire ship. So if you don't want to buy the ship, or you don't have the money to, because let's be honest, it's going to be one of the most expensive ones with the Polaris being there at $975. You got an Asgard at what, $350? We're already getting towards $1,500 by the time you pick up the the other two, the Zeus and the Gladiator. You're easily going to be at $1,500, and not a lot of people are going to just have that credit sitting around. So it's going to be one of the first ones where you got to, like, I won't be able to get it. Oh, maybe I could actually. So I've got the Polaris. So Gladiator, Zeus. I've actually got a Zeus, so I don't have to get the Gladiator. Oh, I will have enough credit. I'm going to do that. I'm going to pick up the Asgard and the Gladiator, and I'll have all the skins. It's like shit, bitch. But Algared doesn't have to. He owns them all anyway. So
no, I don't own the Asgard.
You don't? Well, you probably pick one up then, just in credit to hold on to when they melt. Yeah.
That's surprising. It's actually the only good military transport.
Yeah.
Well, it's in that period where I was going to CitizenCon and my finances were.
He's still recovering from that. He's got quite a bit of money to pay off.
I imagine.
Yeah.
Well,
it's a dream of mine one day.
Yeah.
CitizenCon and, as you often point out, other things.
Yeah.
Sandgroper said
it's called
playing on that.
Algared, be honest. What is the? I don't want to call it a black hole. I don't want to call it the pit of despair.
Woman.
Yeah. What is that thing that's sucking up all your money right now? Yeah.
Woman.
Yeah.
No,
I could beat that.
They have that effect.
No, it's more like travel.
Yeah.
To see woman.
I could beat that. Yeah. It's the thing that comes after one, which is, well, in my case, kids, and I have 6 of them. So my days of buying expensive ships are way gone.
Yeah. But Sandgroper was in chat. I
was going to say you sold some off to actually fund the kids, didn't you? 1 year.
I did. Yeah. Actually, I sold off one of my original Mark 1 F7As on Christmas to help, like, with Christmas gifts.
It was 2 to the same
eventually
guy.
Yeah,
it was 2 eventually, but
eventually.
Yep.
No, it was awesome. It was like, oh yeah, this is a huge burden off my chest. And like I still have one, but it was I think you remember this. I bought a whole bunch for a lot of my military friends, like way back in the day, the upgrades. And most of them still are in the pipeline, but they didn't want them. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So just for clarification, Ash asked me about that CCU. You only get the skin once it's applied.
Yeah.
And I can. You talk about what you're talking about, and I'll bring it up in my hangar and show people.
So Sandgroper was picking up that fusing thing, and he said, "Did I refuse my Idris?" And no, I adfused my Idris because I added fuses to the Idris.
Please stop. Please stop.
So I think he's got a short fuse, Algared.
Yeah.
Don't ever fuck with a comedian. I am way too quick for you when it comes to that shit. Anyway, right.
So while you're digging that one, Spike, When are you gifting me my wolf? Thank you so much. Yes, we do have
Oh
to do
shit,
that.
we're gonna do that, don't we? Yeah, shit. All right, we'll do that in a minute. I'll do it after this.
That was
I'm gonna go AFK a second.
by the way.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I put the dogs in. I'll be right back.
Yeah, Roger. Man, I have to turn the mod off to get this to work though, because it doesn't show the right things. So I gotta open extension. No, I want to go to extensions. Yeah, manage extensions. I want to turn off Star Explorer. Man, I should just bring you guys with me here. Look, I'll bring you guys.
so
with
you
me.
need to ship in your
Because these are
CCU.
here we go. So see this one here. So best in show paint, right? So that's the actual paint that they gave me for it. But these are I'll refresh it now. So if I refresh it, it should turn off the mod. But then I can't search with mod, and that's the problem. So I've just got so much shit. I've got to go through pages and pages and pages to freaking find it.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, and Algared's is even worse. How long ago were we talking? We'll just go. All right, we'll go backwards. It'll probably be the easiest way to do it. We find one. Some old stuff back here. You can generally tell because they have a color to them. So the best in show theme of that year. So the first one will be the white one. I believe they were white, weren't they, Algared, from memory? They had the white with the black and the gold kind of text. Were the first ones, and then we've had blue ones. We've had
the only one
ones.
I remember, which was the first one, was a ghastly purple.
Yeah, so there it is. There, look, Gladiator colors black, and the way you can tell is it because it has those colors of the best in show skin, right? Which means that it'll imply it'll give you the skin when you apply the upgrade. So here's some more here. These are they're the actual skins themselves. That I got from the only one I didn't get was the colors, which is why I picked up the thing. So here you go. Here's a best in show paint and jacket. So if I come down here, I might have a blue one. No, it looks like I've used all the blue ones, or is it? There you go. There's some blue ones. So I've got a Merchman, a Carrick Warbond, Rafter Razor. They're also in the year they're brought, but if it's one that had the skin, I'm trying to think of the one that had the skin. There was a 600i one. That would be it there. So that one there would give you that blue skin for the 600i. As an example.
Yeah. But you'd need to get those specific ones to get the.
Yeah, and I know the ones that can do it.
Yeah.
So again, if it was a ship that won that year and it has like the color of that, then it generally is the one that'll do it. So yeah, hope that kind of clears it up for you, Ash. But if there are people selling them, you can essentially double check what they're selling, and they will work. But they are pretty damn rare. I've had people buy things off me that have been extremely rare. I had a guy buy it was technically backwards $15. It went from it was an Aquila to a pirate edition Caterpillar, but you can see why he brought it. Because and it also he paid me like $150 to buy it because it would allow him to turn the Aquila into a pirate edition Caterpillar that you can't get with LTI on it. Like, it was exceptionally rare. So things like that. So there's just some really weird things that I have in, and I know Algared's is the same. Just when you've done it as long as we have, there's just I think last time I looked, I played a bunch of CCUs recently, about over 140 CCUs. I have a problem. I have a problem.
I have more than that, actually.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you would agree having 15 ships.
Yeah.
140 CCUs is a bit of a problem. It's like I've got a lot of ships that are planned for that I don't actually have. But yeah.
But as Just Right said, you need to either have the best in show ship before best in show day, or buy the best in show version, or
you can also
CCU.
You can also own it at the end. You don't have to. As long as you own it,
you've either got to own the ship.
Yeah, there's 2 times they send them out: right at the start and right at the end. Right. So if you have it before, you just get it so you can start flying around it straight away. And then if you buy it during the thing, or you buy the CCU, you get the CCU will last forever, like these ones do, but the skin will be applied right at the end. And what I generally do is if I don't want the CCU, I just buy them for credit and then melt them after they give me the skins.
Yep.
Which is another reason to vote for the Gladiator.
There you go. Yeah, you've already got your skins, by the way. You're already going to get them. So if you do want to send a message like SA is suggesting, and I kind of agree with him, and I think Algared would as well, yeah, vote for the Gladiator. I think
vote
it is
Gladiator. Give a Gladiator the love it deserves.
We have often sent messages like the MPUV, like we tried to do with the PTV, but they stole it. By the way, 3 years and we still don't have that skin. So I think the PTV and the 85 extra on the meme brigade next year for sure. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the point that Wright was making was either have a ship or buy the CCU.
Yep.
To get that skin. So
again, just clarifying so there's no confusion.
Yep.
There's essentially 3 chances in there to get them.
Yep. Shinobi Trip says, I don't think anyone has mentioned that the top 4 from last year's Best in Show didn't make the first 16 this year.
I think they were cut. I think they deliberately just cut them. So, because we've been talking for years about not. Look what happened to the 600i is the one that has the most skins from Best in Show. It has 4 of them. Second place is the MSR and the Carrick at 3. And they complained to no end about the Carrick getting skin. That's why the MPUV won, because there was so many Carrick people complaining about they wanted a skin. And so the whole community essentially turned on them. Ironically, none of them turned on the 600i, but I'd argue it's the same thing. Got more skins,
but yeah.
Yeah, I'd argue the same thing. Like, you don't want the same ships hogging. I think you'd agree with me, both of you, on the Corsair. It won last year. So did it win last year? No, it was the year before that. It was the year before that. That's why it's in. So that's why it's in. Yeah.
But I also think that people have fallen out of love with it because it got balanced. I'm not going to say nerfed. It got balanced. It got pulled back to where it needs to be or should be.
Yeah, I agree with that, Tim.
So, we don't necessarily like the balancing, but yeah, it's not nerfing, it's balancing.
There's so many things in there too, Algared. Like the MFDs are not in. You can't control all the different turrets. You can't put the guns where you want to. It was pretty ridiculous to take every single gun and put them on the one person. It was just.
Yeah, that was insane.
Well, it wasn't every single one except the back turret, but you get my point, right?
Yeah.
I honestly thought the very first day we got into that thing, the chin turret would be on the guy that got underneath. Oop.
Yeah, but
was the back turret. I was like, what?
Yeah, I know. Insane.
And you should have just made it so that the guy at the bottom can flip back to the turret. Even then, I'd want to eventually in the final game, the 2 side turrets should be able to flip to the back turret.
Yeah. Picking up what Anti-Quane says, Herald is the most meme ship. It is a beast. I will agree with that. Look at the circling little thing around our.
It'll probably
that is a Herald. That is a Herald.
Do we start the campaign now just to make Pete sad and go for the Herald next year instead of the 85X?
Do it.
I don't think I'm gonna do that. I don't think I'm gonna be that mean.
Definitely want the 85X. I mean, that's such a crappy ship.
Because he's an Origin owner and they're crazy.
Look, like I'm an Origin owner and I don't like the 85X.
He's.
So
Pete's got a Herald, go nuts. So it's just that he owns one. Okay, cool.
All right.
Yeah.
But I
don't want to buy new ships. Just give me skins.
And I don't like it. It's I know there are people who do like it, but yeah.
I think every ship needs that quality of life improvement and a skin. I like, even if we look back at some of the ships like the M50. Some of the other ones, they've only got 2 skins, like the 2 verse default that everyone in that kind of, I think they call it Polar, which is like the snow camo, and then there's something like Thunder and it's like blue and black. That's all things like the Herald and the M50 have got. So they all need, I think there should be a base minimum of, what do you think is a fair number? 5 skins per ship.
Very nice to see that.
I mean, all they have to do to really promote both the sale of ships and skins is once a month, pick one ship that doesn't have a lot of skins, focus on it, introduce 3 skins.
Can I be honest? I know they won't do this, right? Because it's a priority thing, but I literally think they should hire an artist and their whole job is just to make skins. Their whole job. Their 100%. Whole job is just make skins.
Yeah, and this month you're doing this ship. This month you're doing
this ship. Let them pick their own ships. Just they can't do one that they've already done until they've done a full lap.
How many M50s do you think they sold in the last month? Just Pick
Yeah.
a month worth the M50 the main ship, like in
Yep.
some really cool
Yep.
skins,
Yep.
and you'll sell it just on the skins.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
And man, I am really getting sick of the bundling. But again, if you made it, you could do the exclusive skin if you buy the ship with War Bond, right? So there's an exclusive one. Oh, plus there's 4 other skins that you can buy. So there's a concierge, an exclusive, and then 4 skins, 6 skins a month, and just pick a ship and go round and round and round.
Add a racing suit into that. Add like a sidearm.
No, I don't want the bundle. As long as you can buy them separately, you can do a bundle to get them all
Yeah,
on
that's
discount.
what I'm talking about.
But I want them. I'm
Yeah.
sick of the patch bundles. They're fucking stupid.
No, I'm not saying like only bundle. What I'm saying is you add those things in and then make a bundle at a discount.
Yep.
That's
I
fine.
mean, how many people would be like, I've been thinking about that ship. It hasn't been worth it. But you know what? That's pretty cool.
I've just
But
been.
yeah,
They've just not been doing that. They've been doing patch bundles,
No.
and generally you want the suit or the gun or the skin, but you don't want all 3.
if I
I agree.
I don't mind the patch bundles as long as I can buy
Mhm.
everything in those patches separately. Because there are some things you don't want.
Mhm.
But and then
Well,
sometimes
you deserve the choice.
yeah. And look, I think sometimes you go through, oh, I really want the suit, I really want the gun, I don't really need that, but you go, man, it's only extra $1. Yeah, okay, I'll do it. You know, if a discount's good enough, you go, yeah, okay, I will get that because it's I'm saving. I'm getting a little bit of something for nothing.
Yeah, how many times have we bought like something just because you get a little bit of extra? Like exactly what you're saying. You didn't want it, but like, why wouldn't I do it? It's only like $5 more.
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit extra, or I'm actually getting that for free, or
it's an exclusive skin. You buy the bundle, you get an exclusive skin. That's fine. I'm not mad at that.
yeah. All right, we really need to do that wolf giveaway because we're down to
I'll
2 questions.
I'll work on that.
3 questions, actually.
I'll work
2
on
questions.
that. I'll work on that.
So the next one is Hustle Bones. Hustle Bones has a question. Question for you, Essay. What's the closest in real life analog to something like the Apollo?
Oh, wow, that's hard. There's really nothing. I mean, I would say that it would probably be a naval vessel, a GST, a ground surgical team, and a remote base, because you don't have the ability that the Apollo has in a ship, something that's mobile. It's, if we're talking about like, there are C-12s, small jets or turbojets that have the ability to have surgical capabilities, but like it's not a common thing. And there are definitely some private contractors that have contracts with the U.S. government that have those capabilities. So yeah, there are medical small jets that have the ability to do that. But you're not going to be able to take whatever it is the Apollo takes, 6 people, that are injured, whatever it is, you whether it's 1 or 2 or 6, you just don't have that capability. What I would say is that we do have medical transport, so you can take a C-17, a C-130, and you'll have medical evacuations, which are they set them up with like certain racks. C-17 is incredibly versatile, and you can have like 30, 40 guys on there potentially that are all injured, with being laid up in a stretcher, being monitored by a nurse, or just sitting in a chair, a jump seat. So what I would say in real life, is there something like that? No. It's kind of weird to me because from a medical aspect, I think this is kind of a weird thing in the game. You have like Bradleys and other vehicles and like Strikers that have the ability to take 3 or 4 guys that are medically injured with a nurse. You definitely have different other vehicles. I won't go into too much detail. Message me if you want to know more. But the main thing is you have the ability to take more people in ground vehicles. And in this game, we don't, which is incredibly strange to me that we have like, you can take 1 person in a medical vehicle. I'm like, that's not a thing. Like you want to take a bunch of people. So I hope they take the Atlas platform, like a Spartan, give it a back that's like a medical back that can take 4 people, like 2 racks on each side with 1 person monitoring them, and can stabilize them. It can bring them back to, the medical terrapin. I love they did it. It's a horrible use of space. It should be able to fit at least like 4 or 5 people in there that are injured. So, the idea of a medical vehicle in the military is all you're looking at. So you have what's called the golden hour. You have the ability to get somebody in a 4-hour window on top of that. So the idea is to stabilize somebody and get them to a place that can treat them.
Yeah.
And I think Star Citizen, because it's space age, is the perfect game to do that, because it isn't the golden hour, it's the golden 10 minutes. Get them in the vehicle, fly them to an Apollo that's landed behind secure lines, get them treated, get them back into the fight.
The idea of the Apollo, as I see it, is because it's that idea of go down to a planet, set up a clinic. It's almost like a MASH.
I really wish that's what they would. Algared, I think you're dead on. That's what it should have been. It should have been a portable or a GST, a ground surgical team.
You reckon that the Carrick modules might be that?
I hope so. I don't know. I think Algared's onto something there, though. Like, I mean, you know what a MASH is probably from TV. That's what most people know where they're from. We don't do those anymore. But that being said, yeah, it makes sense. Like, it's just the natural evolution. That's my whole thing with the Liberator. The Liberator shouldn't be a transport. It should be a forward assault base, like a portable. I land. I have medical facilities, repair facilities, command and control. I can't do damage. I can just defend myself. And we launch an assault from this little tiny ship.
All right, I'm ready to I'm ready to draw this.
But if you do look at the,
I've got to do it in 2 parts. So I'll do this, then you can talk. Because I've got to do it in 2 parts anyway. So there's 166 people. I haven't selected the top one because once I select all of them, as soon as I undo one, it changes to all. So I needed the number. So there's 166. So all I'm going to do is go, give me a number between 1 and 166. 104. So I'll find 104 while you talk.
Okay. So when you look at the Apollo, and you look at the diagram of the Apollo, you've got the entry ramp, you've got the airlock, and then you've got a reception area. Now that tells you the way that's set up is to be on ground and being a clinic. So it already, the way it's already designed lines itself up for being that place behind the ground, at the background where you're doing your surgical or you're doing your other stuff. So to me, that layout has always cried MASH or portable clinic or mobile clinic. So
yeah, exactly.
So yeah,
like your bus. I'm sure you have these in Australia, like the bus that shows up that has like a doctor in it, and they take your blood pressure, do your scans, all the things are portable dental.
We have the flying doctors. The flying doctors do that. They literally fly to a remote area, set up their clinic, and do stuff, and they can, if need be, they can pull people out by plane as well.
Yeah, we have clinic buses here where like you show up, there's a bus, it goes to an impoverished neighborhood, they give people services and then they leave. Yeah.
But it's that type of thing that's what the Apollo basically is. It's to go to those areas that's needed, land, do the clinic there, and then if you need greater treatment, you'd be shuttling them up to the Endeavour using your the Nursa and the Cutlass and the other vehicles. So
yeah. So I mean, what we're missing right now when we're looking, so to get back to the question that was asked, what we're missing in military medical treatment is we're missing a good ground vehicle that can take like 4 or 5 people and stabilize them, not treat them, stabilize them, and get them out of the area. We're missing some type of Terrapin-sized vehicle. That was a missed opportunity with them with the Terrapin that can do something similar, but for 2 to 3 people. Like, that can, not surgery, but just get them stabilized and get them out. And then we're missing non-military, but like alternative. The funny thing to me is the Cutlass Red actually covers the pirate scene perfectly. Like the Cutlass Red is an incredibly well-designed concept. It needs some adjustments, but like the idea of it makes sense. You have 2 racks that like you don't treat anybody; they just lay there. So you do like basic ambulatory, like stop them from bleeding out, and you have 2 beds. Perfect. The Cutlass Red is the vehicle to use. Go ahead.
The medical bay in the Carrick is also similar. It's got the
amazing
for recovery, and it's got the main surgical bed.
And the funny thing is,
beds do nothing, but yeah.
I would actually say the Carrick needs more beds, except like some just like basic just lay here beds, like not even that you're you're getting treated, but the crew is so small, so you really don't need him.
Yeah,
because if your crew
go on.
No, please go.
I was just going to say, but it's got the two. You've got your main bed, your main medical bed, and then outside you've got the two just rest beds, and they don't do anything medical. They're just 2 beds.
Well,
Okay,
and the Carrick Bay. Sorry, go ahead.
I've got the winner if you want me to see who it is. So
the
winner is Offset Studio 5673. You said, I don't care if this ship will shine like a star, or would like a super polished chrome skin, or a shark skin could be cool too. And I've just said, congratulations, you have won the Kruger L21 Wolf thanks to CIG. Please get in touch with me via Discord so I can get sent off to you, X. Right.
Now,
so
are they in chat?
Are they in chat? I don't think they are. It's not a name that I recognize seeing regularly.
I've seen either.
But yeah, if you're listening to this or you get a reply, I'll give you a week. And if you don't get back to me, then we'll put it on the Discord for a giveaway next week.
Congrats,
cool.
man.
Yep.
It's a beautiful ship.
It is.
Probably edit that and just say you've got to. Well, no, because I just delete the message if he doesn't get back to me. So yeah.
Yep,
that's fine. I've just got to go find it if he doesn't get back to me, and that's the pain in the butt. Trying to find it is like a needle in a haystack. But yeah. So congrats on winning the Wolf. Offset Studio 5673 does not roll off the tongue.
It does not.
No.
but I do. One of the reasons I picked up a Carrick's med bay is it is a lovely med bay. And Luna Marie was picking up the same thing. It's a beautiful med bay.
The Carrick
the type of thing you want in those in those medical things, isn't it? The extra beds where you could just transport someone or do something. But
the Carrick is by far the best designed ship in Star Citizen, in my opinion. Like, it's not perfect, but the overall flow of the ship, like the quarters, everything, it feels like you're in a deep space explorer. Like, it just feels good. And I think the second runner up for that is the Reclaimer. Even though it needs a lot of work on the interior, it needs a med bay, it needs a whole bunch of stuff done. It feels like I'm going to deep space to travel. And that's my problem with the Polaris, is that you don't feel like you're in. The Polaris feels like a luxury military vessel. You have like plants in your atrium, all the angles like in your hallways leave dead space. And when you go into the Carrick, there's extra space, but you feel like it's structural.
Yep.
Like the angles for the hallway make sense.
Yep. It's one of the nice things about the Reclaimer as well. It's just it feels chunky and sturdy, and
it's Nostromo. Like, it's like all the things we wanted. Like the really cool thing about, like, when you look back at the lore of James Cameron and like building the franchise and doing all those things with deep space exploration, is they used World War II vessels and the bulkheads and the shapes to, like, in submarines to get the feel of it. And I feel like the one thing CIG has kind of lost is they clearly did that earlier on with the Carrick and the Reclaimer, but they've lost it. Now everything feels so polished.
Do you wonder if any of that's got to do with, how to put this, when people are there early on, like all those people become veterans because they've lost some of those veterans. If I was to start at CIG tomorrow and walk up to John Crew and say, hey, you can't do that. There's a political structure in almost every environment you ever work in. So those new people don't feel comfortable putting their ideas forward or being as passionate. They just do as they're told. I wonder if it's a time thing.
So, I mean, you guys have met John. I haven't, and I really like him.
He's a very friendly guy.
Like his attitude.
I would like to think he is not like that, but I honestly don't know. You don't know what people are like until you.
Well, I mean, so my point is this: like, I've never met him, never talked to him. I like his gruffness. That's I mean, you know me, man. I mean,
you'd get on with him
a lot. Like
from the talks that you and I have had, and I've had with him, you would get on with him. Yeah.
And I'm a military guy. Like, I'm very blunt. I'm very inappropriate sometimes.
That's him. He's very inappropriate.
He comes across as somebody that's not approachable, and that's not John. If you're watching this by chance, that's not a critique of you, man. It's just like we all have our things.
He's just quiet. He is naturally a more quiet person. He's reserved.
He's intimidating by his nature, and I know that because I'm intimidating by my nature.
He comes off like a strong silent type.
Well,
but then when you actually get him talking, He's actually quite passionate. Yeah.
So I would say that probably he knows things we're saying. And so if I were John, there are two things. One, I don't think his intention is to be standoffish or to like be a standoffish leader. Two, he's been doing this for so long. He just wants the ball to go across the finish line. Like,
Maybe.
you know, I mean, like, and I don't fault him or Chris or Sandy or anybody that's been in the project to be like, let's get Squadron 42 out and then we can reevaluate our lives and like move on or, you know, stay. But that being said,
I hope it's not like, I really hope it's like, yeah, I'm just done. Let's get it. No. I hope it's not like that. I hope the passion's still there.
I can tell you right now, like in my military career, I'm at a point where like they call it the 7-year cycle, where every 7 years you're just like, fuck this shit. Fuck the army, fuck that. Like I'm done. Like I'm not shaving. I'm not doing any of these things. Like, you know, and your commanders come to you and your friends are like, hey man, you know, you are in the military.
I have the worst mankini visual I have ever seen, Algared. I don't know if you're getting the same visual with that lack of shaving. A
little dark for me, but okay. No, like, I mean, you just get like, you have injuries, like you do what you need to do. You come back, you're broken and you get really down, you know, and like, you know, any project is like that. I did it on the civilian side. I don't think I've ever made it past more than 5 years with a project where I'm just like, I'm done. And these guys have been there for, you know, much longer.
What kind of shows you there's a passion there though? You have to be passionate to have been there that long.
There is, and there's commitment to see the end vision, which I respect, but like, it's hard, man. It's really hard. There comes a point where you're just like, is this my life? Like, what else can I do? What else could I, you know, and it's, you want to see it finished. You want to see you know, you want to cross the finish line, but you know, if John Crew the day after Squadron came out was like, I'm done, I'm out, peace, like threw up deuces and walked away, I would never blame him. Like, I get it. Like, you know, you need to do something else, man. I get it. You brought the ball across the finish line. And I think, honestly, when Squadron 42 comes out, a ton of people are going to leave. They're just, you know, they put in their years.
Surprised.
Yeah.
I mean, Algared.
Yeah. We've seen it before.
Staying at the same school. Like, how hard is it to just stay at the same school and stay at the same grades and like stay at the same curriculum? It's got to be incredibly difficult over years.
It does take its toll.
They won't take him anywhere else. He tried. They just kept throwing him back. No,
like that's why, you know, why I was able to take long service leave. And gee, that was wonderful. Just getting away from
sabbatical.
Yeah, that's why you do it. But yeah, it does get hard. But you know, you often find teachers will stay at the same place because of their commitment. So yeah, I can see it. But,
well, in the military too, you stay in the same place because you get addicted to the deployments. Like, you don't want to be away from your family, but the work is so intense and meaningful. Like, you just get addicted to it. And, you know, I'm at a point in my career where I'm never going to deploy again, just because if I did, I would lose my children. Like my family would just never be able to relate to me because I've been gone. I have one kid where I've been overseas for 1/3 of his life plus.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just, is that fair to him? Is it fair to me? Be like, you know, and you come back and you're very impacted by what you've done. You're broken in a lot of ways. These guys that are working on these projects, obviously it's a little different, but you know, you've made a commitment, you see it through, but it emotionally drains you. Just like it, you know, I can't imagine being a teacher. My wife's a teacher, and, you know, I just basically, if she wants to come back and, you know, yell at me, I'm just like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, sometimes you need to. But yeah. Like I someone in chat saying they expect who was it? The prisoner said a bunch of people will let go when it comes out, like other companies do. I can see once Squadron comes out, hopefully they'll transition into the other episodes or doing work on the universe itself. So hopefully there's not too much of that culling down of staff. But I imagine at some point there will be. But yeah.
I mean, I push back on that. I would say, if anything, they're going to have to, not immediately, but they're going to have to hire up because...
Well, they're constantly looking for people to hire. No.
They promise other chapters. It's part of the program. And It's so I'm one of those people where I'm very not happy with the way development has gone in certain aspects, but I think they're going to. It's going to be a very successful launch. Like they've really gone all out to make it good.
Yeah.
It's going to be the next Wing Commander where it just kind of comes up from nowhere and
Just
you know, like, oh my God. Yeah, I can play this. This is an actual game. Like I'm part of this, the detail. And then when they get into Star Citizen, it's going to be 10 times that. So
Look.
I think they're going to have to struggle to hold on to people that are burned out.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I was the same.
They talked about that a lot with people that, you know, you get in the industry, you usually work on your first game for 3 years, and people want you to have a published game under your belt. It's like the metric. I don't know why. Like, it should just be how long you've worked, but they have literally not published their first game, and they've worked there for 10 years.
Yep.
Which is fine.
I mean, the funny thing, by now you should have done 3.5 games.
So I don't know this for a fact, but this is something that I read in an article that CIG hesitates to rehire people that have left and done something and like published a game and then want to come back. And that drives me insane. It's like, bring them back. This is somebody that just needed a break. They needed to reset themselves, do something different, because guess what? They've been doing this for well over a decade. You know, give them a break. Like, you know, it's what you're asking people to do, CIG, and I hope you're, you know, looking at this problem in a different way than I think you are, is you're asking them to give up a ton of their creative passions in life with no deviation. And that's hard. You know, teachers at least get a reward. You are bringing up society. You are improving the next generation of our culture. Like, it may not be rewarding in the immediate function of rewarding. Like, you're not getting, you know, $1 million, but you're making something better.
Average improved. Fuck off.
Well, in the military, like
everything. Next thing you say, Paul knows how to talk about history. Whatever. Okay.
The funny thing to me is like so I've been Algared. It's not the same as you. I've been an instructor for years. I've done my teaching time in the military. You know, I've trained. I can't even imagine. I mean, you 10 times, 15, 40 times more, but I've trained tons of soldiers. And the feeling you get when those people walk up to you later and they've succeeded in doing things and like they moved on in their life is incredible. It's like, you know, I've done these things.
And the stories you've told me too, like of failures and successes of people, has been very interesting to listen to.
Well, and the biggest failure is me. Like, I mean, I've failed in so many things in teaching and instructing and missions. You know, being able to pass that information on is the point, you know, and as a teacher in CIG, I hope when you think about like your people, you realize like they might needed to leave you just to get some breath, just to get a little bit of space and bring them back, you know, and create an environment where they can change and do different things. I know you don't need that right now because you're at the finish line, but you get across the finish line, let them change their job.
I get the impression that CIG do try to look after the stuff. Like a number of people I speak to from CIG who have said similar, you know, they do look after us. But I also get the idea that people might need a break. I haven't heard that they reluctant to rehire people. They may not. I imagine part of that reluctance may depend on how the person left or what was the problem with the person if they left.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, so if the person left because they did not fit the mold, then unless they were coming back and they were like, you beaut at this, why would I want them back? You know, we've had staff who start and then leave and then they come back and then leave again. And you go, well, that person's not coming back. We'll never see that person again because you were given the second shot. You know, you were given the second chance and you still left. So what's the point? So I don't know how CIG do their employee their hiring, but I do know they're constantly looking for staff even now. They've still got hires always for graphic artists and game artists and programmers and AI specialists and you name it, they've probably still got it. So I hope that doesn't mean they're going to be ditching people, but I think one of the things, as you pointed out, I think one of the hard things they'll do is retaining those players, retaining those staff, so they can do that second and third module. When I started playing Elite. That was one of the first real computer games I was playing. And when I found Wing Commander, that was it. Elite didn't get looked at again at all. It was just Wing Commander all the way.
Can I add just to what you're saying here? Remember when we went around and a lot of the staff said the only people complaining about shit were the relatively new people. They're the people that are going to leave.
Yep.
The people that don't understand how good they've got it there.
Yep. Didn't understand how good it was, didn't understand what crunch was, didn't understand.
Those same people that we talk to and others would say it's the best place they've ever worked in. And some of them weren't even gaming people, like they'd worked at banks and all this other shit, and they were like, just the way they look after us is amazing.
And you know, when we're sick, we're told, you know, just look after yourself, come back when you're ready. Because
they know sickness can spread to other people and shit like that.
I could believe that, actually, because I mean, like the people that I've engaged with, like you guys and other people that like have talked to them and know them, have all said that they're engaging. They at least they have a dialogue. They actually talk to their people, which is the first step of.
Yeah, the best comment we heard was the thing people don't understand is Chris Roberts isn't just building the game he's always wanted. He's building the place he always wanted to work as well.
Every good gaming place I worked, you were able to engage and interact and ask questions and shit like that, right? Even if you were right at the bottom, they would encourage you to ask questions, talk up, share ideas, because even if that fucking idea was stupid, right? Like, or someone would say your idea was stupid, you would learn from it. How do you learn? You learn by making mistakes.
Yeah.
Right? No. And so when I've gone to other places, like the last place I worked, I hated, right? And they wouldn't let you talk. They just wanted you to shut up and do as you're told. And it just didn't work. It stifled the entire creative process. So it just became these few people at the top with all these ideas that most people thought were stupid and ridiculous. And then the company kind of went under because of that.
I always got the impression that's what the guys the German office, the Frankfurt office in for Star Citizen, they worked at Crytek. They were basically told, this is all we need to do. Just do this.
Oh, with the Pupil to Planet.
Yeah, and when they did Pupil to Planet, they kind of did that behind the scenes, because it was like CIG said, yeah, show us what you can do. And I was like, you know, it was a breath of fresh air for them, and they went to town.
And that's that whole thing. Like a lot of people say, like feature creep and all that, and you know, oh, we don't want to add all these new stuff, but that's how you get those cool creative things, is by allowing people to explore a little bit. You've got to. It's a balance, right? You don't want to go too far. You don't want the leash to be too short, right? If it's too long, the dog just runs around your legs and you trip over. If it's too short, the dog can't go anywhere and it shits on your feet. You know, like
you remember the I'm sure you remember the Inside Star Citizen or whatever it was, where they were talking to one guy, and in his spare time, he'd been experimenting with the land deformation when you throw grenades or explosives or stuff. But just coming into Star Citizen, it's just him just experimenting and playing around.
You'll be surprised, because again, that allowing that person to be creative, he'll work harder and work for longer. He'll probably work for later. But think about what Google was like in the old days, right? When they had the cafeteria and all that type of shit, they were able to pay their employees less and put that money into the cafeteria, and they would work for longer hours or less. Yeah. Happy employees, like what's that country? I think it's one of the Asian countries. Singapore is now moving to a 4-day work week because they tested it and found out it made productivity better, not worse, better.
Yep. And you know, and talking to some of the stuff, you know, if you're working, you can get emails at the office. They've got their coffee barista.
They have a full-time barista upstairs. I could probably show video of it. I haven't had an official. They've said I could show those videos off, by the way, but I just haven't got round to doing it.
Yep. And it's just to make sure that staff are looked after. So they do lots of stuff like that. And I do know from our conversation with Sandy that Chris is a coffee guy. So he wants good coffee.
Give me a minute, Algared. We'll do it now.
Yep. So, yeah. So I think Serge, you do try to look after the staff, and everything I hear is always positive. So yeah.
That's great to hear, because I know you guys have been there and actually talked to people, and that's one of the things that, as somebody who loves the project, it comes from the background that I come from. Because like what I do in the military, we're a small team, and there's somebody that's under me that, like, I don't even call them under me. They're the next person to replace me. And my whole job, because I run what I need to run, is to get them to the point where they know everything I know. And it's frustrating because it takes years to get it down. And the environment that you have to create is you're still a small man team. Like you need to do things together. You have to bring everybody together. And to hear what you're telling me and what X is telling me is like refreshing, because there's so much negativity out there about like their environment, that like to hear that the environment's better than I expected it to be. That's great.
Now, before you do that, I'm going to talk the last question that came through, because it's the last question we've got, which was for Dr. Edge. And it was, after size increase and drones not coming, should the Apollo take an URSA? Now, we've talked about where we think it should or shouldn't take an URSA. Have a look back earlier on, but our basic answer was no.
How you doing? Sorry, you can have a bit of sound here where I try and find the video.
So
can you say that again?
Last question taken care of. So the last question was, should the Apollo take an URSA? And we've kind of answered that. But
should it? Yes.
No. Oh, well,
should it? Yes.
Yeah. Should it? Yes.
Will it?
No.
Right. So this is a short video that I took. We'll just do this one. I've got to add this so people can see it. So I got to go to this. Doing it on the fly, guys. So apologize. VLC. When I turn VLC on, will it just work? It will not, because it's trying to do that one. So I need to swap it over to
Deep black. And
it's called 34. Video 30. Hope I don't play the wrong one here, because I've got like my nephews and shit on some other ones. Close that. Hey, there we go. Right. So if I can just rewind this. If you can't hear the sound, I do apologize. Right. So this is their cafeteria upstairs. So this is the very top of the building. And you can kind of see they got like a little amphitheater there, and stuff. And then there was these really cool life-size statues of all their
characters.
And you can see
including Mark Hamill.
You can give a shit about anyone else, just walked in front of all their shit. I shouldn't have done that, but I did.
I know, he's evil.
Yeah.
The Bengal carrier around the site model was awesome as well. They've got that there.
And that was all filmed with this little thing. So I think it did pretty well. And then it's still been on there all that time. So yeah. I think there is there's some other smaller ones, but I'll have to turn it off and then on again, because there are other personal videos there of my nephew and stuff. So just give me a minute. I'll have a quick look. This one I can show. So let me just show this one. This is full size. It's playing the other one, so I've got to swap it. I've actually got to swap it over manually. That sucks. All right, so it's this is number. What number is this one?
That is a pretty sweet place.
33.
It's pretty amazing.
33. Because they also made us turn our camera off and like lock it up every time they moved us between areas. So this is a full size Gladiator. They had one like every time you went up every time you went up a floor. This thing's like as tall as I am, type thing. So you'll find that there's a lot of little short videos like this, because you just you can probably hear Disco in the back. Oh, there's Morph's in this one. What's this one? Number 32. Because I talked to Morph a lot when we were walking around. 32. So bear with me. Sorry for doing it this way, guys, but you know, on the cuff. I've just never got around to editing all this stuff. So this is a full-size Retaliator on the floor below. You can see Morph and Disco there. During this tour, Disco did have a very sore foot. So this is the Retaliator. This one's kind of been seen before in some background shots, but yeah, most of them are just really short little clips like that. I think there might be one more. Yeah, this is the last one I think I can show. This is where we got the that photo taken out of me and you at the Grim Hex. So they're you tell them. You tell them.
Yep. So we took the photo. We went in, took the photo at Grim Hex, but it's also the same place where the same floor level where we were when we were walking through with Sandy because she was looking for someone to help carry the bags.
But what I meant you to say is, the kitchen is Grim Hex. Their lunch kitchen is Grim Hex.
Oh, I'd forgotten that.
Yeah, and I think I must have cut the camera there. Maybe I've got another.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me have a quick. So I've got another one.
The seats around the corner there, you could just see.
Oh, I do. I do have another one. There's another one. I must have cut the camera off.
That is so sweet.
Yeah. So they got. What did they call it? It was that massive stone in the corner with the shuffle puck or something. What it was called, wasn't it?
Yeah, shuttle puck.
Yeah, that shuttle puck or something like that. That was pretty cool. At the other end,
the air hockey and a couple of.
So here you go. Here's the better
couple
one.
Of pool tables.
So yeah, there's the pool table. We weren't allowed on the wood. We had to stay on the carpet. It kept going off at people for walking on the wood. I don't know why.
What?
There's Kelly Drex, by the way. That's Kelly Drex, if you know her. Yep. She's a member of QA.
What I thought was funny was they were saying that, but when we were walking through with Sandy, we were just. I think we walked on the wood through that section and walked through everywhere else, and it was just.
Yeah. There's Captain Serious Fun there. We had Griff. Griff was taking a lot of photos. He was the guy on the camera for everyone, taking everyone's photos and stuff. So yeah, but yeah, you can see the whole area on this side is just Grim Hex, which was pretty cool. The shuffleboard I was talking about is in
behind there.
Yeah, that back corner there and stuff. But they had a lot of people watching us. Like they were. I found out stuff. I don't know if we're allowed to talk. I won't talk about it because they probably wouldn't like us to, but there was some bad tours that happened in LA. Let's just put it that way. I'll leave it at that. And that's why security was so high. They just, really, people really acted inappropriately. I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
But when we were walking through with Sandy, looking for someone to help with the bags, the guys were sitting kind of in this area in some tables. And we basically walked through the whole office first, down to where all the offices were and all the workbenches were, and up back and forwards, and just picked up some of the guys and went back downstairs, but yeah, it was pleasant.
That's where we ran into that guy, and he basically goes, "You guys are the whole reason I'm here." And I was like,
"Yeah." It was off Sandy.
I was legitimately speechless. I was like, "How do I respond to that?" And then you and Sandy just go, "Is that a good thing?" And it was like in unison. It was really creepy that you were both thinking the same thing. Because I was just like,
"Is that a good thing?"
My brain wanted to go, "Sorry," like sorry, no, didn't mean to get here, but sorry. But yeah, it was good, and one of the things I'll say now that CIG didn't probably know, but Sir Piggles is with us, and so he actually got to come in and see behind the scenes. And if you know anything about Sir Piggles, he actually has worked on some of the stuff that they use internally. It turned into tools that they use. So he, out of all the people, I'm happy that got in there to see that wasn't really a creator or something like that, Pickles, because he deserved to see a little bit.
But that was also the day when we were going to meet up, going to meet Sandy, and Sandy's just standing at the front gate by herself. Yeah,
and nobody knew who she was. It was really bizarre.
No one's near her. No one even approached her. And we just rock up. And
it essentially proved that there are so many new people that follow this game because there was crowds of people standing outside. And I remember Brian Chambers walked past, Sandy walked past, those type of people, and they had, just because they hadn't been on camera in like 6 years, nobody knew who they were.
Yep, no one knew
it was just, it was nuts to me because like I'd be like, and they'd have no clue. And we just walked straight up to Brian. He knew who we were, and we needed
Yeah.
him to deliver something to John. So we just said, "Can you take this to John?" He literally joked, "Oh, as long as it's not a bomb." I go, "Oh, it's just a picture frame." And yeah, so yeah.
So Waffle Insanity saying he met you and then he met me, which surprised
Oh, in the
me.
hotel. Yeah, he did. He did.
In our hotel.
And
I think
if we go again, I'm doing things so differently next time. I went to make an experience for people behind the scenes. And I think I failed at that. I think that when we sat in the crowd up the front and watched stuff, I would, if I went again, the same thing is to make stuff from behind the scenes, but I'm literally just going to go out the back and talk to devs and learn things and then talk about that stuff later. And because all that stuff I can watch at home, it's recorded, right? And you and I can then sit back and watch that when we get home and talk about it again.
I wouldn't do the live panels again.
No.
It's great, nice atmosphere, but I actually feel you get more out of them when I've watched them.
Yeah,
on screen, where I'm just listening to them. I'm not getting distracted by the person talking behind me. Or
That first day, there was some guy, I don't know what country he was from, right? And I'm not trying to be mean or whatever here, but it was damn annoying. There was a guy 2 rows behind us. He didn't speak English, and the guy next to him was translating everything. And it was annoying as fuck because you'd talk and you couldn't hear. So you're trying to listen, and there's a guy behind you speaking Swahili or whatever the language is. I think it was a European accent, but God, it was. I had to turn and say, "Dude, you've got to be quiet. We can't hear." And I said, I didn't come halfway across the world to listen to you speak another language and not hear what they're saying. I said, he's the one. You're essentially interfering with everyone here around you, for one person. So what is better? The needs of the many. So you need to be quiet.
It would have been better in that sense for them to have been in the back area where they're playing the video.
Yeah. Or why didn't the guy just have like Google or Siri or whatever with automatic translate on? And he listens on Twitch and just have it translated.
That would be a thing that'd be good to see, that there was a translator option at the event. But yeah.
All right. Well, we've been going for almost 4 hours now.
We've done all our questions.
After all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, insane.
So SA, I'm going to let you. Go ahead, Ogre.
I was just going to say, Waffle, I do remember our conversation in the foyer. I was sitting there doing schoolwork. A bit of schoolwork. That was the day my students were doing their last exam, and so I was just checking how they were going, do a bit of schoolwork, and you were having your breakfast, and Sharon said good day, and I said, "Oh, look."
So I'm gonna,
and then ended up a group of us just sitting there talking Star Citizen. It was great.
I'm gonna let you pick SA since you've stayed here the whole time. Do you want to raid someone new, or do you want to raid Astropub?
Oh, definitely Paul.
Okay, we'll raid Paul.
We'll raid Paul.
So
I'm shocked he's still going, man. I'm ready to go to bed.
He's playing New Man's Sky by the look of it. So we'll set up the raid. I've already set up the redirect to him already on YouTube because it's really hard to it's the Astrop, isn't it? See, we got rid of our V, didn't we? It was originally called the Inforunners, and I thought that was more on like the Facebook, so I got rid of it as soon as. The only thing that hasn't changed is the email and our Twitter because I couldn't get them rechanged.
We can't change it,
but everything else I changed because I thought it was retarded. But each to their own. Right. So we're running. What do we want to ask Paul? How does he find the ship interiors in the new update for No Man's Sky? Because apparently they're on par with Star Citizen, I've been told. So it looks pretty impressive there if you look at that ship in the background. So yeah, give him some grief. Tell him SA said hello. We will be listening in. Yeah, and tell him the reason we're raiding is SA's fault. So yeah, cool. All right.
SA
so
said to raid him.
Twitch says say goodbye to YouTube. YouTube say goodbye to Twitch. And
bye, Twitch.
They're gone. And let's have a listen in. Oh, Loken's there too.
No, this is the event horizon. It's just the chill ship I've been using.
Dance monkey! Dance monkey! I love this music. Oh, he does it like this, doesn't he? Oh,
what is going on?
No, oh, God. This one when someone raises him, he does a dance. And
He stops playing and does a dance.
I can't do it as good as Paul. He's probably been doing it for.
Come on, he's been it so long, he's got it down pat.
Hey, X, my fellow X and Al, my fellow brothers in the Gladiator war. How y'all doing?
Good, thank you.
We're good. We're good.
Welcome.
Not that you can hear
Welcome to
us.
me playing No Man's Sky for the first time in about 10 years. How y'all doing? I'm hanging out with love.
I'll just say.
Interact with this thing that I'm running around.
Oh, I'm gonna head over there real quick.
Just telling him to say hello to YouTube.
Purple light coming up.
I see it.
Since we're all watching.
It's purple.
You probably won't read chat now for 10 minutes
You may not be able
Yeah.
to.
because he's talking to Logan. They just get lost in the thing.
Oh, okay.
Give him.
Would have been cool.
Yep, it's come up on his screen, so he hasn't read it.
Shame it is what it
All right,
is.
we will move on. I got to mute this.
I've got to say, I don't think the interior of the ships are on par with Star Citizen, but they are quite nice.
Oh, they're a bit too boxy, but
Yeah.
we'll have to wait and see. How they
Which
come.
I never liked that style. Like my
Mm.
students always say, "Oh, sir, do you play Roblox or Minecraft?" I don't like that style of it.
Mm.
It's
So,
okay, but
this weekend we'll probably talk about some alternatives. I
Yep.
want to talk about for the Apollo hull. We'll go over that with you. It'll be a super speculation episode. It's going to be, all out there. So,
Yep.
if you don't like that type of thing, oh shit, that's what we're going to be talking about. And we'll have a lot of things to add to that though. But so look forward to that one. We'll either record that this afternoon or tomorrow. Is there anything you want to add?
nope. Apart from the voice wanting to die because
thank
it's been 4 and a bit hours.
Yeah,
so-
thank you for joining us. As I say, it was an absolute pleasure having you as per usual. Is
It
there
was.
anything you would like to add?
No, just enjoyed it, gents. Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me, and have a great day, night. What time is it there? Day.
Almost lunchtime. It's almost
Yep.
noon. Yeah. So yeah.
Well, wish me a good night, and we're good to go.
What time is it for
Yep.
you?
Just hit 10 o'clock, or about to hit 10 o'clock.
Ooh, late night for you. He's a grandpa. He's normally in bed
I
by
know.
7.
I know.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. With that, then the voice in the void. It's been SA. He's been Algared.
He's been executed, and we're out of here. Take care.
See you, citizens.
Peace.
Bye.